It begins with a hum, a low, electric vibration of too muchness. It's the fluorescent buzz of a supermarket aisle, where 1,000 different cereal boxes scream for your attention, each promising a brighter morning. It's the silent scroll of 1,000 possible futures on a screen, 1,000 faces on a dating app, 1,000 destinations you could fly to tomorrow, each a ghost of a life you could be living. It's the stillness at a crossroads, both literal and metaphorical, where the sheer number of paths forward creates a gravity so immense it pins you to the spot. We were promised freedom in this explosion of possibility, but what we received feels more like a weight. A beautiful, crushing weight. This is the great paradox of our age. The quiet anxiety that thrums beneath the surface of modern life. We are drowning not in scarcity, but in abundance. We are paralyzed by the privilege of infinite choice. But the problem, the true source of this weight, is not the number of doors in front of us. The problem is that we have forgotten how to use our own key. We have been taught to seek answers everywhere but within. We poll our friends. We read the reviews. We consult the data. We follow the trends, desperately trying to crowdsource the map to our own lives. We look outward, always outward, for a sign, for permission, for the right answer. All while the most sophisticated guidance system ever designed lies dormant within our very being. The external noise of infinite possibilities has deafened us to the internal whisper of our own truth. There is, however, an ancient art we can reclaim. It is the art of listening, not just with our ears, but with our entire soul. It is the art of tuning into the subtle frequencies of the universe, recognizing the messages it constantly sends as signs and synchronicities. It is the art of absorbing the profound wisdom distilled over centuries. Wisdom captured in timeless philosophies and the transformative pages of books on self-realization and universal law. And today, in our fast-paced world, this ancient library has found a new voice. It speaks to us through audiobooks, transforming a daily commute into a sacred pilgrimage, a morning jog into a session with a master teacher, the simple act of washing dishes into a moment of profound revelation. These audiobooks are the bridge, the convenient, powerful channel through which we can learn to silence the external noise and amplify that inner voice, turning the overwhelming weight of choice into the effortless dance of conscious creation. We must first walk deeper into the hall of mirrors to truly understand the nature of the cage before we can find the key. This cage, this modern prison of the mind, is what we can call the echo chamber of possibility. It is a space built from light and code, from scrolling feeds and shimmering screens. And it is here that the weight of choice becomes almost unbearable. Think of that familiar, modern ritual. You collapse onto your couch after a long day, seeking the simple comfort of a story, a movie. You open a streaming service, and you are greeted not with one story, but with an endless, cascading gallery of them. Thousands of thumbnails, each a portal to another world, flicker before your eyes. At first, it feels like power, like abundance. But as the minutes tick by, a strange anxiety begins to creep in. The simple desire to be entertained becomes a complex optimization problem. This one is 98% critically acclaimed, but that one is trending. This one has an actor you love, but it's 3 hours long. A significant investment of your finite time. That one is a limited series everyone is talking about. And a powerful fear begins to whisper in your ear. The fear of missing out. The fear of choosing the merely good, when the perfect choice might have been just one more scroll away. And so you scroll, and scroll, and scroll, until the initial excitement has curdled into a chore, and the chore into a low-grade exhaustion. An hour passes. You have consumed nothing but possibilities, and you are more drained than when you began. You turn off the screen, the silence of the room now feeling like a judgment on your own indecision. This is the echo chamber in miniature, the tyranny of the thumbnail. A perfect metaphor for the larger paralysis that has come to define our lives. This chamber is amplified to a deafening roar by the architecture of social media. It is no longer enough to choose your own path. You are now forced to witness, in real time, 1,000 other paths being taken by everyone you know, and millions you don't. Your screen becomes a relentless highlight reel of alternate realities. You see a friend's promotion, and your own career choice is suddenly thrown into question. You see a spectacular wedding in a sun-drenched landscape, and your own relationship status feels like a verdict. You see curated images of perfect homes, perfect bodies, perfect children, perfect vacations, and each one is a phantom life, a ghost of what could have been, had you only chosen differently. Each post, each story, each perfectly filtered image adds another echo to the chamber. Another voice telling you that your reality, the one you are actually living, is somehow deficient. The very technology designed to connect us has instead created an infinite landscape of comparison. It triggers a primal, gnawing anxiety. This FOMO, that whatever you do, wherever you are perpetually in the wrong place, at the wrong time, making the wrong choice, because a better version is always being broadcasted just a thumb flick away. The tragedy is that our minds, the miraculous instruments of consciousness that allowed us to hunt on the savannah and gaze at the stars, were never designed for this. Our brains evolved for a world of tangible, limited, and consequential choices. To eat this berry, or that one, to flee from this predator, or to hide. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of our executive function and decision-making, is a powerful tool, but it has a processing limit, bombarding it with the infinite, low-stakes, yet emotionally charged data of the modern world is like trying to pour the entire ocean into a single cup. The result is overload. It's a cognitive short-circuit we call analysis paralysis. The brain, faced with an overwhelming flood of information and hypothetical outcomes, simply freezes. It defaults to the safest option, which is often no option at all. This is the modern incarnation of a classic philosophical problem known as Buridan's ass. The story tells of a donkey, equally hungry and thirsty, placed exactly midway between a bale of hay and a pail of water, unable to decide which to go to first, because the reasons for each choice are equally compelling. The donkey stands frozen in place and ultimately perishes. The original paradox was a simple one, a choice between two equal necessities. Today's donkey, our donkey, is not starving between two options, but between 2,000. It stands paralyzed between artisanal, ethically sourced hay and alkaline, electrolyte-infused water, each with thousands of 5-star reviews, influencer endorsements, and a dozen articles debating its long-term health benefits. The mechanism of the trap is the same, but its complexity has grown 1,000-fold. And so we stand, starving in the midst of a feast. Our inaction, a direct result of the overwhelming abundance of options. This paralysis is powered by a deeply ingrained, insidious myth, the myth of the perfect choice. We have been conditioned to believe that life is a multiple-choice test, and that for every situation, there is one single, objectively correct answer. Our mission, we believe, is to find it. We apply this logic to everything. The perfect career, the perfect partner, the perfect home, the perfect investment, the perfect diet. The search for this mythical perfection turns every decision into a high-stakes performance, fraught with the terror of failure. We create spreadsheets to compare potential mates. We agonize for weeks over which shade of white to paint a wall. We delay starting a business until the perfect market conditions arise. But perfection is a static, brittle illusion, and life is a dynamic, fluid, and messy reality. The perfect job for you today may be a soul-crushing cage for the person you will become in 5 years. The perfect partner on paper may lack the ineffable, unspoken chemistry that truly nourishes your spirit. There is no perfect. There is only what is, and what you choose to create from it. Chasing this ghost of perfection is the surest way to miss the beauty of the good, the lessons of the difficult, and the simple reality of the present moment. It is a recipe for chronic hesitation in the present and inevitable regret in the future. For you will always be able to imagine a more perfect outcome that you failed to achieve. And so we arrive at the great sensei, sorrowful irony of our time. The freedom our ancestors dreamed of. The freedom from what? The freedom to choose our own destiny has dawned, for many of us, become its own kind of prison. The infinite potential of I could be anything has morphed into the paralyzing fear of I might not be the right thing. The freedom to go anywhere has left us standing still, terrified of taking the first step in the wrong direction. We are trapped in a gilded cage whose bars are forged from the very possibilities we so desperately craved. The door is unlocked, has always been unlocked, but we are too busy examining the infinite complexity of the lock's design to simply turn the handle and walk through. We are caught, suspended in the shimmering, humming, relentless echo chamber of our own potential. But what if the way out is not to find a better way to analyze the echoes? What if the way out is to change the very nature of the sound we make? To escape this chamber, we must first stop looking at the walls, at the infinite reflections of what could be, and turn our attention inward, to the source of the original voice. We must seek a principle, a law so fundamental that it precedes all choice, a law that governs the very relationship between our inner world and the reality we experience. We must begin to understand that the universe is not a random explosion of choices happening to us, but a perfect mirror, flawlessly reflecting what is happening within us. To step out of the echo chamber, you must first turn away from its shimmering, distracting walls and face the one thing present in every single reflection. You imagine, for a moment, standing before a different kind of mirror. This is not a mirror of silvered glass that reflects your physical form, your tired eyes, or the way you hold your shoulders. This is a vast, cosmic mirror, and it reflects not your body, but your being. It reflects the sum total of your deepest beliefs, your most dominant feelings, your secret, unspoken assumptions about the world, and your place within it. This mirrors the universe itself, and the principle that governs its reflection is known, in many traditions and texts, as the law of attraction. Now, let's pause here, because these words have been colored by so much modern myth-making. For many, the law of attraction conjures images of a cosmic vending machine, a magical genie that grants wishes for sports cars and mansions if you just think about them hard enough. But this is a profound simplification of a principle as fundamental and as ever-present as gravity. Gravity does not care if you are a good person or a bad person, if you believe in it or not. If you step off a roof, you will fall. In the same way, the law of attraction is always operating, a silent, impartial principle that governs the flow of energy and experience in the cosmos. It is not about wishful thinking. It is a law of resonance, a law of focus, a law of reflection. At its heart lies a very simple concept like attracts like. That which is like unto itself is drawn. Think of a tuning fork. When you strike it, it begins to vibrate at a specific, measurable frequency. If you bring another tuning fork of the same pitch nearby, it will, without ever being touched, begin to vibrate in sympathy. It has caught the resonance of the first. This is not magic, it is physics. Now, expand this principle. Your inner state, the combination of your thoughts, and, more importantly, your emotions is also a vibration. It is an energetic signal that you are constantly broadcasting out into the universal field. When you exist in a dominant state of anxiety and fear, you are vibrating at the frequency of anxiety and fear. You become a tuning fork for those experiences. The universe, in its impartial way, then brings you more circumstances, people, and events that resonate with that frequency. Not as a punishment, but simply because they are a vibrational match. You notice the traffic. You get the stressful email. You have the difficult conversation, because those events are tuned to the same channel as your inner state. Conversely, when you are able to cultivate a dominant state of gratitude, peace, and love, you become a tuning fork for those experiences. You begin to attract and notice the kindness of strangers, the unexpected opportunity, the synchronous moment of beauty, because your signal is now tuned to a different, higher broadcast. This is why wishful thinking alone is utterly powerless. You can stand on a rooftop and wish with all your might that you could fly, but the law of gravity will remain unimpressed. Similarly, you can sit on your couch wishing for abundance while your entire being is steeped in a feeling of lack. And the universe will not respond to your hollow words. It will respond to the powerful, magnetic, and honest signal of your feeling state. It responds to your dominant state of being. The universe is like the most fertile soil imaginable. It does not judge the seeds you plant. It will grow a poisonous weed with the same impersonal, life-giving energy it will use to grow a beautiful rose. Your fleeting wants are not the seeds. Your deeply held beliefs, your chronic emotional patterns, your core assumptions about reality, these are the seeds. If you hold a core belief that you are unworthy of love, you can want love all you want. But the seed of unworthiness is what you have planted in the cosmic soil. The universe, like a faithful gardener, will then cultivate experiences that reflect that unworthiness back to you, proving your own core belief to be true. This brings us to a radical and empowering concept, famously articulated in the works of the mystic Neville Goddard, which can be summarized as everyone is you pushed out. This does not mean other people have no free will. It means that the aspects of them that you experience, the roles they play in the drama of your life, are often a direct reflection of your own state of consciousness. People show up for you in the way you expect them to. If you hold a deep-seated assumption that people will betray you, you will unconsciously seek out and magnify any shred of evidence that confirms this belief. And you will attract people who are vibrationally capable of playing that role for you. If, however, you change your inner assumption to one where people are fundamentally good and supportive, you begin to activate and experience that very quality in them. The world shifts because you have shifted. You have changed the script. And so, the actors in your play begin to read from a new set of lines. Here we can see how this fundamental law completely dissolves the weight of choice we spoke of earlier. We are paralyzed by choice because we are trying to change the reflection in the mirror by manipulating the mirror itself. We are frantically trying to rearrange the pixels on the screen, hoping for a better picture. But it is a futile effort. The only meaningful point of intervention is at the source of the broadcast. The most important choice you will ever make is not what job to take, or where to live, or who to date. The primary choice, the one from which all other choices naturally and effortlessly flow, is the choice of your own inner state. What signal will you broadcast today? What frequency will you choose to inhabit? Will you plant seeds of lack, fear, and resentment? Or will you plant seeds of gratitude, trust, and abundance? An entire world of this thought was opened up to the mainstream through the phenomenally popular book and audiobook, The Secret, by Rhonda Byrne. For millions, it was the first time they had ever heard these concepts articulated so clearly. It served as a powerful, accessible gateway, a front door into a much larger and more nuanced palace of wisdom. It gave people a starting point, a basic framework for understanding that their thoughts and feelings mattered, that they were not merely passive victims of circumstance, but active participants in their own reality. by choosing to focus on what they wanted and cultivating the feeling of having it. They were, for the first time, consciously engaging with this great, universal mirror. When you truly grasp this, the paralysis of choice vanishes, replaced by a profound sense of clarity. The question is no longer an agonizing, "What should I do?" It becomes a simple, empowering, "Who do I choose to be?" When you choose to be peaceful, the chaotic option naturally falls away. When you choose to be abundant, the choice born of scarcity loses all its appeal. You are no longer trying to find the right path. You are becoming the kind of person for whom the right path simply appears. You are tuning your inner instrument, and the symphony of your life begins to play in a new, more harmonious key. But if our being is a broadcast, a signal sent to the cosmic mirror, what is the language of this signal? What is the very substance of this energy we are shaping and sending out? To truly become masters of our reality, we must move beyond the metaphor and understand the currency of the cosmos itself. We must learn the language of vibration and frequency. If the universe is a grand mirror, then the image it reflects is painted with light and shadow, with energy and form. The language this mirror understands, the very medium of its reflection, is the language of vibration and frequency. To the conscious creator, this is the currency of the cosmos. It is the invisible architecture that underpins all of material reality. And learning to perceive and shape it is the key to moving from a life of reaction to a life of deliberate creation. We live in a world that feels solid, dense, and separate. This chair feels solid beneath you. The walls of this room seem immovable. But modern physics has confirmed what ancient mystics have always known at the most fundamental level. Nothing is truly solid. Everything, from the hardest diamond to the air you breathe, is a swirling, incandescent dance of energy. It is a mass of atoms, which are themselves vortices of vibrating particles, all held together by energetic forces, all vibrating at a specific and unique frequency. This is not a metaphor. It is the literal truth of our existence. We are beings of energy, living in a universe of energy. And this principle does not stop at the boundaries of what we can see and touch. It extends into the invisible realm of our own consciousness. Your thoughts are not just fleeting, abstract events in your brain. They are real, energetic impulses. A thought of anger has a jagged, chaotic, and rapid frequency. A thought of deep peace has a smooth, coherent, and harmonious frequency. Your emotions, which are the powerful responses to your thoughts, are even more potent forms of vibration. They are what charge your entire being with a specific resonance, turning you into a powerful broadcasting tower, sending a clear and consistent signal out into the universal field. This is the currency you are constantly spending, whether you are aware of it or not. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is a transaction with the cosmos. And the reality you experience is the return on that energetic investment. To make this practical, we can imagine a kind of vibrational scale, a concept explored with profound clarity in books like the audiobook Ask and It is given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. At the very bottom of this scale, you find the densest, heaviest, and slowest frequencies. These are the frequencies of shame, guilt, despair, and powerlessness. To be in these states feels like moving through thick mud. Your energy is constricted. Your perspective is narrowed to the problem at hand. And you feel heavy, isolated, and closed off from possibility. Moving slightly up the scale, you find fear, anger, blame, and resentment. These frequencies have more energy than despair. Anger is certainly more powerful than apathy, but it is a chaotic, discordant energy. It is the frequency of resistance, of pushing against, of struggle. As you continue to move up the scale, you encounter frustration, pessimism, and boredom. The energy is lighter, but still lacks a clear, creative direction. Then, you cross a critical threshold. You move into the frequencies of hopefulness, of optimism. Suddenly, things begin to feel possible. The energy is lighter, faster. You move further up into contentment, appreciation, and enthusiasm. And at the very top of the scale, you find the highest, fastest, and most powerful frequencies available to a human being. The frequencies of joy, empowerment, freedom, and unconditional love. To be in these states feels effortless and expansive. It feels like light. It feels like flow. Your energy is open. Your perspective is wide. And you are aligned with the creative force of the universe itself. Now, it is crucial to understand that this is not a scale of morality. Low is not bad and high is not good. They are simply different energetic states, like different notes on a cosmic piano. However, the kind of life you can manifest from these different states varies tremendously. You cannot experience a reality of joy and abundance if your being is consistently tuned to the frequency of despair and scarcity. You cannot play a beautiful, harmonious melody using only the lowest, most jarring keys on the board. This is where the famous radio analogy becomes so incredibly useful. Imagine that the reality you desire, a life filled with vibrant health, deep love, fulfilling work, and joyful abundance, is already being broadcast. Right now, 24 hours a day. It is a clear, powerful radio station. Let's call it Abundance 107.5 FM. It is always on the air, always playing the music of your dreams. However, if your personal receiver, your own emotional being, is calibrated to the frequency of fear and worry, let's say scarcity 60 AM, you will never, ever hear the music of 107.5 FM. It is not because the station is broken. It is not because you are unworthy of hearing it. It is a simple matter of physics. You are tuned to the wrong frequency. The work, then, is not to try and build your own radio station from scratch. The work is not to beg the universe to please play your song on the channel you're currently tuned to. The work is simply, and profoundly, to change your own dial. This insight transforms the agonizing burden of choice into a simple but elegant act of vibrational navigation. Every decision you face, from the monumental to the mundane, can be distilled into a single, clarifying question: will this choice help me tune to a higher frequency? Or will it drag my frequency down? Think about it. The choice to spend an hour scrolling through social media, comparing your life to the curated fictions of others. A choice that almost inevitably leads to feelings of inadequacy and envy. Does that raise or lower your frequency? The choice to engage in gossip, to speak ill of another, which reinforces a reality of judgment and separation. Does that raise or lower your frequency? The choice to complain endlessly about a problem, marinating your consciousness in the energy of what is wrong. Does that raise or lower your frequency? Now consider the alternative. The choice to put on music that makes your heart soar. The choice to call a friend who always makes you laugh. The choice to walk in nature and feel a sense of awe at the beauty around you. The choice to read a single page of an inspiring book, or listen to a few minutes of a mind-expanding audiobook. The choice to make a list of 10 things you are genuinely grateful for. Right now, each of these is a small, deliberate act of retuning your dial. It is a conscious decision to reach for a better feeling state. You don't have to make the quantum leap from despair to joy in a single bound. The universe only asks that you try to find a slightly better feeling thought, a slightly higher frequency than where you are now. From fear, reach for anger, which is more powerful. From anger, reach for frustration. From frustration, reach for hope. Each step up the vibrational ladder makes the next step easier. And as you climb, the view of your own life begins to change dramatically. The choices that once seemed so complex and weighty from the valley of despair now look simple and clear from the hillside of hope. You begin to realize that you are the one in control of the receiver. You are the one choosing the station. The universe is not imposing a reality upon you. It is simply matching the frequency you choose to broadcast. When you consistently choose thoughts, words, and actions that align you with the frequencies of love, joy, and abundance, the mirror of the universe has no choice but to reflect a reality filled with those very things. The struggle ceases. The resistance dissolves. You enter a state of flow, where the right people, the right opportunities, and the right choices appear not as a result of a desperate search, but as a natural consequence of your own radiant energy. You have learned the language of the cosmos. But if our emotions are the ultimate indicator of our frequency, we must ask, what is it that sparks these emotions into being? The answer lies at the very inception of the creative process, in the silent, fertile darkness of the mind. For every emotion that sets your world ablaze begins as a single, tiny spark. That spark is a thought. And to become the true architect of your reality, you must go to the place where those sparks are born. If your emotions are the vibrant colors that paint the canvas of your life, and your frequency is the quality of the light in which that painting is viewed, then your thoughts are the foundational lines themselves. They are the blueprint, the silent, initial drawings made by the architect of your reality. We now step into the quiet studio of the mind, the place where all creation begins, to understand the immense and often underestimated power of our dominant thoughts. For it is here, in this inner world of form and structure, that the weight of choice is either forged in fire or dissolved into air. Imagine your mind as a vast and fertile garden. Every single thought that crosses your consciousness is a seed. A fleeting, negative thought is like a single weed seed blown in by the wind. If the garden is healthy, it will likely find no purchase and wither away. It is harmless. The danger lies not in the passing seed, but in the ones we choose to cultivate. The thoughts we return to, again and again, are the ones we are actively watering, fertilizing, and nurturing. These are what we call our dominant thoughts. They are the well-worn grooves of our consciousness, the mental superhighways that our energy travels by default. For many, these dominant thoughts are narratives of lack, struggle, and limitation, running on a subconscious loop. I'm just not lucky. Making money is hard. I'm always so tired. Good things don't happen to people like me. These are not just harmless internal monologues. These are the master seeds you have chosen to plant. And a garden planted with seeds of thistle will never yield a harvest of roses. The universe, the faithful gardener, simply ensures that the reality you experience perfectly matches the dominant seeds you have sown in the fertile soil of your mind. This is not just philosophy. It is verifiable biology. In recent decades, the field of neuroscience has proven what mystics have taught for eons: the mind can change the brain. This remarkable capacity is called neuroplasticity. The guiding principle is simple: neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you repeat a thought or a feeling, you are causing a specific network of brain cells to fire in sequence. This strengthens the synaptic connections between them, carving a neural pathway. Think of it like forging a path in a dense forest. The first time you walk it, you have to push through branches and undergrowth. It takes effort and concentration, but if you walk that same path every day, soon the undergrowth is trampled down. A clear trail emerges, and eventually, it becomes a wide, smooth road. It becomes your default route. Your habitual thoughts of worry, for instance, have created such a road in your brain, so that any new event is automatically directed down that familiar path of anxiety. But here's the miracle: because of neuroplasticity, you are never condemned to walk those old roads forever. You have the power to blaze new trails. As explained with profound insight in the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, particularly in his transformative audiobook, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. We often get stuck in self-perpetuating thought-feeling loops. A thought of insecurity produces the chemical feeling of insecurity in the body. That feeling, that bodily sensation of insecurity, then sends a signal back to the brain, prompting it to think even more thoughts that are commensurate with insecurity. This cycle, repeated thousands of times, wires that state of being into our brain's architecture and conditions our body to live in that emotional state as its baseline. This cycle becomes our personality, and our personality creates our personal reality. The key to breaking the habit of being your old self is to consciously interrupt this loop. It is to choose a new thought, on purpose, and to do it with enough frequency and focus that you begin to forge a new path. You can, quite literally, build new neural networks for gratitude, abundance, and confidence, while the old pathways of fear and lack, now unused, become overgrown and disappear. You can unwire the old self and rewire a new one. This brings us to the crucial distinction between active and passive thought. For most of our lives, we operate in a state of passive thought. We are run by the program. Our minds are filled with the automatic chatter of our subconscious conditioning, the endless stream of thoughts inherited from our parents, our culture, and our past experiences. We are the architects who have left the studio, allowing the construction of our lives to be run by a set of old, dusty, and often faulty blueprints found in the archives. To live this way is to be perpetually recreating the past. If your past contains struggle and disappointment, a mind left on autopilot will use those same old blueprints to build a future filled with more struggle and disappointment. Active thought is the revolution. It is the architect returning to the studio, rolling up their sleeves, and consciously, deliberately, picking up the pencil to draw a new plan. It is the act of choosing a thought on purpose. It is deciding to think about what you want, instead of what you don't. It is choosing to focus on a solution, instead of marinating in the problem. This requires awareness, discipline, and energy, especially at first. It is the hard work of blazing that new trail in the forest. But every time you consciously choose a thought of gratitude over a thought of complaint, every time you choose a thought of empowerment over a thought of victimhood, you are firing and wiring new connections. You are taking back control of the construction site. You are shifting from being a creature of habit to being the creator of your reality. This is the ultimate antidote to the weight of choice. The paralysis of indecision is a direct symptom of mental fog, when your mind is a chaotic storm of conflicting, passive, and fear-based thoughts. Every choice appears monumental and terrifying. The architect has handed the builders 1,000 contradictory blueprints, and the result is confusion and inaction. But when you practice the art of active, conscious thinking, you cultivate a state of profound mental clarity. You clear the fog by consistently choosing thoughts that align with your desired reality. You create a single, clear, and powerful blueprint. You know what you value. You know what you are building. You know your destination. When your mind is this clear, the agony of choice evaporates. It's not that the number of options in the world has decreased. It's that your inner vision has become so sharp, so focused, that most of those options become irrelevant noise. They are no longer on your frequency. Only the choices that are in harmony with your clear, new blueprint appear illuminated. They present themselves not as agonizing dilemmas, but as obvious, natural next steps on your path. The weight is gone because the confusion is gone. The clarity of your thought has defined the clarity of your path. You have become the conscious architect, and you understand that the quality of your future is determined by the quality of the blueprints you are drawing today. But a blueprint, no matter how brilliant, remains a drawing on a page. To bring it to life, the architect must issue a clear command. The drawing must become a directive. The thought must be energized and aimed. It must become an intention. The architect has returned to the studio. The blueprints are clear, precise, and illuminated with the light of conscious thought. But a blueprint, no matter how magnificent, will never become a cathedral if it remains tacked to a drawing board. The thought must now be energized. It must be aimed. It must be given a clear and unwavering command to begin the process of creation. This is the sacred and powerful art of deliberate intention. Intention is thought infused with purpose. It is the focused will that transforms the passive energy of a dream into the active, kinetic energy of creation. It is the difference between a loose pile of gunpowder and the focused, directed charge that fires a cannonball. Without intention, your thoughts are merely clouds drifting aimlessly across the sky of your mind. With intention, they become a lightning bolt, ready to strike the earth and bring forth new life. We must first understand the vast chasm that separates a deliberate intention from its weak and passive cousin. A wish is born from a place of lack. It is a sigh into the void. I wish I had more money is a statement that reinforces the present reality of not having enough. I hope I find a partner is an admission of loneliness and a plea to an indifferent fate. I want to be happy is a declaration that you are currently unhappy. These are energetically limp. They are unfocused pleas that broadcast a frequency of neediness. And the universe, in its perfect mirroring fashion, can only respond by giving you more experiences of wanting dadi androl, hoping, and not having a deliberate intention. However, is a declaration of power. It is a statement of alignment, spoken from a place of creative authority. It does not beg, it announces. Let us transform those same weak wishes into powerful intentions. I wish I had more money becomes a resonant declaration. I am a magnet for prosperity. I intend to welcome and gratefully receive abundance through expected and unexpected channels. Feel the difference. The first is a complaint, the second is a command. I hope I find a partner is reborn as I am preparing myself to be the perfect partner. And I intend to attract a relationship built on mutual respect, deep joy, and authentic love. The first is passive, the second is active and co-creative. I want to be happy is elevated to, I intend to cultivate moments of joy, gratitude, and peace in my daily life. Starting now, the first looks to the future for a vague feeling, the second finds power in the present moment. An intention is a choice. It is the decision to align your energy and focus with a specific reality, and to declare that you are now open and ready to receive it. To amplify the power of this practice, we must bring the ethereal into the material. We must take the intention from the invisible world of thought and ground it into the physical world. The most ancient and powerful way to do this is to write it down. There is an undeniable alchemy in the simple act of moving a pen across paper. As you form the letters and the words, you are focusing your will and your energy in a singular, powerful way. The thought is no longer just a fleeting electrical impulse in your brain. It has now taken on a physical form. It has become a tangible object in your reality. This written statement becomes your contract with the universe. It is a talisman, an anchor for your attention. Place it where you can see it daily, on your bathroom mirror, your desk, or your nightstand. Each time you read it, you are consciously reactivating its frequency, reissuing the command, and reminding your subconscious mind of the new blueprint you are building. But even more important than the words you write is the feeling you generate as you write them. This is the secret ingredient, the fuel that launches the rocket. The universe responds not to your vocabulary, but to your vibration. Therefore, when you set an intention, your primary work is to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not just intend for a new, loving relationship. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of that person's hand in yours. Feel the sense of safety, the sound of their laughter, the deep peace of being truly seen and accepted. Do not just intend for financial abundance. Feel the sense of freedom and relief that comes with it. Feel the joy of being able to be generous with your loved ones. The security of knowing all your needs are met. This is not pretending, it is a powerful form of vibrational rehearsal. You are tuning your entire being to the frequency of the reality where your intention is already a fact. You are becoming a vibrational match to what you are asking for, making it not just possible, but inevitable. With this understanding, intention ceases to be a once-a-year New Year's resolution. It becomes a dynamic, moment-by-moment practice for navigating your life. You can set micro-intentions that infuse your entire day with purpose. Before a difficult conversation, you can silently set the intention. May this exchange be filled with clarity, compassion, and a mutually beneficial outcome. Before you begin your workday, you can intend, may my work today be focused, inspired, and of great service. Before you fall asleep, you can intend, may my sleep be deep and restorative, and may I receive guidance from my higher self in my dreams. Each of these small acts is like a rudder, steering the ship of your day with conscious direction rather than letting it be tossed about by the random waves of circumstance. Think of a marathon runner, a perfect embodiment of intention in action. A person who simply wishes they were fit will remain on the couch, channel surfing, but the person who forms the deliberate intention to run a marathon has issued a powerful command to their own being. This single intention reorganizes their entire reality. They buy the right shoes. They research a training plan. They wake up early to run when they would rather be sleeping. They choose healthier foods to fuel their body. Their choices are no longer confusing or weighty. They are made simple and clear. Filtered through the lens of their guiding intention, their life has organized itself around this central command. As the great teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer explained in his profound audiobook, The Power of Intention, we are not just creating intention from scratch. We are tapping into a universal field of intention, an all-pervading energy that is the source of all creation. Our work is to purify ourselves of resistance and align our personal will with this universal creative force. You have now learned to be the architect, drawing clear blueprints with your thoughts. You have learned to be the master builder, issuing a powerful and decisive command with your deliberate intention. You have aimed the arrow of your desire with precision and focus, pulling the bowstring back with all of your concentrated might. The target is clear. Your energy is gathered. And now comes the most graceful, the most challenging, and the most essential part of the entire process. After all the focus, all the will, all the concentrated power, you must open your hand. You must let the arrow fly. You must surrender the outcome to a wisdom far greater than your own. You must learn the profound and paradoxical art of letting go. The arrow has been loosed from the bow. Your focused thought was the shaft. Your deliberate intention was the sharpened point. And the power of your feeling was the mighty pull on the string. It soars now, a streak of pure potential against the vast blue sky of possibility. And in this moment, a new and profound challenge arises. A test not of your power, but of your wisdom. It is the instinct to control the arrow's flight even after it has left your hand. It is the desperate urge to run alongside it, to blow on it, to will it towards its target. This is the friction point where most creative acts fail. It is here we must learn the most graceful, and perhaps most difficult, dance of all the sacred and profound paradox of surrender. It is the art of learning to let go of the how. In the grand collaboration of creation, there is a clear division of labor between you and the universe. Think of it as the most effective business partnership imaginable. You are the visionary, the CEO. Your job, your only job, is to hold the vision. Your role is to define the end result, the experience you wish to create. Your role is to infuse it with passion and purpose. The why. You are the one who dreams of the magnificent cathedral. The universe, however, is the master logistician, the COO. It is the architect, the engineer, the project manager with access to a supply chain and a network of resources that stretch across all of time and space. The universe's job is to handle the how and the when. It knows the most direct, the most elegant, and the most efficient path to bring your vision into reality. It sees all the traffic patterns. It knows all the shortcuts. It can orchestrate a symphony of a million seemingly random events to align in perfect harmony. When you, the visionary CEO, begin to obsess over the logistics, when you try to micromanage the how, you are not helping. You are interfering. You are stepping on the toes of the master builder, bringing your limited, fearful, three-dimensional perspective to an infinite, multi-dimensional process. This interference, this need to control, is not just inefficient, it is a form of energetic sabotage. It is an act of resistance. The feeling of anxiety, the constant mental strategizing, the desperate need to make it happen. This is a low-frequency broadcast. It is a powerful signal of distrust you are sending out into the cosmos. With your intention, you said, "I trust that this is coming to me." But with your worry and control, you are shouting, "I don't actually believe you can handle this. I don't trust you." This contradictory signal creates static. It muddies the waters, and it grinds the entire process to a halt. Imagine your intention is to float peacefully down a river to a beautiful destination. The current of the universe is already flowing in that direction, gently carrying you. The act of surrender is to lie back, look at the sky, and trust the current. The act of trying to control the how is to frantically start paddling with your hands, to try and swim faster than the river, to grab onto every rock and overhanging branch you pass in a desperate attempt to steer. All this frantic activity does is exhaust you and stop your downstream progress. The river was already taking you there. Your struggle is the only thing keeping you from arriving. Now, it is here that we must address a great and common misunderstanding. Surrender is not inaction. It is not passivity. It is not giving up. It is the exact opposite. It is the release of fearful, ego-driven action in order to create space for clear, divinely guided action. We must learn to distinguish between two types of activity: forced action and inspired action. Forced action is born from the anxious mind. It feels heavy, like a struggle. It is accompanied by a soundtrack of "I should" or "I have to." It is the energy of pushing, striving, and hustling, rooted in the belief that if you don't force the outcome, it will never come to pass. This is the frantic paddling against the current. Inspired action, however, is born from a place of quiet trust and alignment. It feels light, effortless, and joyful. It often comes as a sudden, clear idea, a gentle nudge, an intuitive hit. It doesn't feel like a "have to." It feels like a "what if I just." It is the voice that whispers, "Call that person," or "drive down that street," or "look up that book." It is the river current gently nudging your raft towards a clear, open channel. True surrender is the practice of quieting the noisy, frantic mind of forced action, so you can finally hear the quiet whisper of inspired action. It is about becoming a willing and responsive partner with the universe, ready to move when the inspiration strikes, and ready to be still when nothing is asked of you. This requires a profound trust in a timeline that is not your own. There is a beautiful story that illustrates this perfectly: the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant the seed of this remarkable tree, you must water and nurture the ground for an entire year, and you will see nothing. The second year, you continue to water and nurture, and still, nothing breaks the surface. The third year, the same. The fourth year, the same. A person operating from the ego, from the need to control the how and the when. I would have given up long ago. They would have dug up the ground, declared the seed a failure, and cursed their luck. But the person who understands surrender continues to tend the soil, trusting in the unseen process. Then, sometime in the 5th year, the Chinese bamboo tree finally breaks through the earth, and in a breathtaking display of life force, it grows up to 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. The lesson is profound. For all those years, the growth was not absent, it was invisible. The tree was building a vast, powerful, and complex root system beneath the surface, a foundation strong enough to support its incredible, explosive, outward growth. Your intentions work in the same way. When you set a powerful intention, the universe immediately begins to build the root system. It is rearranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and preparing the foundation. All of it happening in the unseen realm. Your obsession with immediate, visible results can cause you to abandon the process, to dig up the seed, right before the moment of your own spectacular breakthrough. This is the wisdom of Wu Wei, the Taoist principle of effortless action. It is the wisdom of Lao Tzu. It is knowing when to act and when to allow, moving in harmony with the natural flow of life, like a boatman who uses the currents and the wind, rather than fighting against them. So you have let the arrow fly. You now stand, empty-handed, watching it soar. You have done your part. You have chosen the target with clarity and fired with all your might. Your work now is to trust its flight, to trust the wind, to trust that the great archer of the universe has a better vantage point than you do. This state of active trust, of open-handed, peaceful anticipation, is the essence of surrender. But how do we remain in this state of grace when the old habits of worry clamor for our attention? We need an anchor. We need an emotional home base that is, by its very nature, the frequency of receiving. We must learn to master the single most powerful tool for maintaining a state of trusting, surrender, the transformative power of gratitude. You have let the arrow fly. You stand in the quiet aftermath of your powerful intention, in the sacred, open space of surrender. This space feels peaceful, but it can also feel vulnerable. It is here that the old ghosts of doubt and fear love to stage their counterattack. The ego mind, addicted to control, will begin to whisper its insidious questions. Is it working? When will it happen? Are you sure you did it right? To stand firm in this sacred space of allowing to hold your ground against the tides of impatience and fear, you need an anchor. You need an emotional home base so powerful, so resonant with the frequency of receiving, that it dissolves all doubt on contact. This anchor, this master key to creation, in this gravitational field for all things good, is the transformative power of gratitude. We must begin by understanding that gratitude is not a passive pleasantry. It is not merely saying thank you as a matter of social etiquette. It is an active and powerful force of spiritual physics. It is a conscious, deliberate, and radical shift in perception, the default setting of the human mind, wired for survival over millennia, is a deficit mindset. It is constantly scanning the horizon for problems, for threats, for what is missing, for what could go wrong. Left to its own devices, your mind will fixate on the one unpaid bill instead of the 99 that were paid. It will dwell on the one critical comment instead of the 10 compliments. This is not a personal failing, it is ancient programming. Gratitude is the conscious act of overriding that program. It is the decision to turn the brilliant flashlight of your attention away from the dark and dusty corners of what you lack, and to shine it, with full force, upon the vast and luminous treasury of what you already possess. Consider the simple act of waking up. The deficit mindset, the autopilot program, might immediately begin its litany of complaints. I didn't sleep enough. It's raining outside. I have so much to do today. I'm already overwhelmed. The day begins on a frequency of lack and resistance. But what if you chose to activate gratitude as your first conscious act before your feet even touch the floor? You can think, thank you for the warmth and safety of this bed. Thank you for the roof over my head that protects me from the rain. Thank you for the gift of this body. which is about to carry me through a new day. The external circumstances are identical. The rain is still falling. The to-do list is still long, but your internal reality, your entire energetic signature, the very signal you are broadcasting to the universe, has been radically transformed. You have started your day not from a place of deficit, but from a place of profound and powerful abundance. This is because gratitude is one of the highest and most potent frequencies on the emotional scale. It vibrates in the same celestial neighborhood as love and joy. When you are in a state of genuine gratitude, you are broadcasting a clean, clear, and unambiguous signal to the cosmic mirror. That signal says, I have enough. I am blessed. I am cared for. I am whole. This is the polar opposite of the frequency of wanting. Wanting is a signal of lack. Gratitude is a signal of fulfillment. And according to the universal law of like attracts like, a signal of fulfillment can only attract more experiences that match it. The universe, hearing your genuine appreciation, essentially says, oh, you enjoy this, you are grateful for this, then let me give you more things to feel grateful for. It is a state of grace, a state of pure, non-resistant allowing. It dissolves struggle and striving, and opens the floodgates for blessings to pour into your life. This practice is so powerful that it physically rewires your brain. Each time you consciously search for and focus on something to be grateful for, you are strengthening the neural pathways associated with positivity, contentment, and well-being. You are literally building a gratitude circuit, a simple daily practice, like keeping a gratitude journal and writing down 3 to 5 specific things you were thankful for that day. Acts like a workout for your brain. At first, it might feel difficult or repetitive, but with consistency, you are carving new neural roads, making it easier and more automatic for your brain to spot the good in your life. This is the essence of the work taught in audiobooks like The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, which provides a structured, 28-day program designed to systematically transform a deficit mindset into a gratitude mindset through specific, daily magical practices. It is a user's manual for building this essential spiritual muscle. The result is the activation of what we can call the magnet of more. This is how it works in practice. It begins small. You decide to try it. Perhaps feeling a bit foolish, you hold your morning cup of coffee and instead of just drinking it on autopilot, you take a moment. You feel its warmth in your hands. You inhale its rich aroma. You feel genuine gratitude for the complex chain of events that brought this simple pleasure to you: the farmer, the shipper, the roaster, the grocer. You walk outside and feel the sun on your skin. And for a second, you are truly thankful for its life-giving energy. Then, small synchronicities begin to occur. The perfect parking spot opens up. A friend you were just thinking about sends you a text. You find a $5 bill in an old coat pocket. Your instinct might be to dismiss these as coincidence. But now, you know better. You feel a surge of genuine gratitude for each one. Thank you. More of this, please. As you continue this practice, the magnetic field of your gratitude strengthens. Your appreciation for the small things creates a vibrational space for bigger things to arrive. The difficult client at work suddenly becomes more cooperative. An unexpected opportunity for a project you'd love to do appears. A long-standing family issue resolves itself with surprising ease. You, in turn, meet these events with even deeper gratitude, which further amplifies your magnetic field. Life transforms from a random series of struggles into a joyful and interactive game of noticing blessings and receiving more. You realize you are in a co-creative dance with a generous and abundant universe that loves to shower gifts upon those who truly appreciate them. Gratitude becomes your default state. The rich, fertile, and well-tended soil in the garden of your life. It is the ultimate expression of faith, being thankful not only for the blessings you can see, but for the intentions you have launched and the good that is already on its way to you. And now, standing in this vibrant and fertile garden, your heart overflowing with thankfulness. You have prepared the perfect ground for the next stage of creation. With this rich, high-frequency emotional soil, you are now ready to consciously plant the most detailed and beautiful seeds of your desires. You can now use the magnificent power of your creative imagination, not from a place of neediness or lack, but from a place of fullness and gratitude. You are ready to step into the inner movie theater of your mind and begin scripting your reality. Through the magic of visualization, you are now standing in the rich, fertile garden of a grateful heart. The soil of your consciousness has been tilled and prepared, and it is vibrating with the high frequency of abundance and appreciation. This is the perfect womb for creation, the perfect studio in which to begin the masterwork. It is now time to take the clear blueprint of your intention and project it onto the screen of your mind with such clarity, such feeling, and such sensory detail that it becomes more real than the world around you. It is time to learn the art of scripting your reality through the profound and playful magic of visualization. At the heart of this practice lies a stunning neurological fact. Your brain does not clearly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual, physical one. To your brain, seeing is believing, but feeling is truth. Let us conduct a small experiment right now. I want you to imagine you are holding a bright yellow lemon. Feel its cool, waxy skin in your hand. See the little bumps and imperfections on its rind. Now, imagine placing it on a cutting board and slicing it in half. Hear the sharp, clean sound of the knife going through it. See the glistening pulp and the pale seeds inside. A sharp, citrus scent now fills the air. Now, pick up one of the halves, bring it to your mouth, and imagine taking a big slash, juicy bite. Imagine the explosion of intensely sour, acidic juice flooding your tongue and your cheeks. For many, simply reading those words will have caused a physical reaction. Your mouth may have begun to water. Your lips may have puckered. Why, you are not actually eating a lemon, but you vividly imagined it. And your brain commanded your body to react as if it were real. This is the power you are about to harness. When you visualize your desired future, you are firing the same neural networks that would fire if you were actually living it. You are pre-paving the pathways for success. You are making the unfamiliar future familiar to your brain and body. So, how do we practice this effectively? We create what we can call a mental movie or a scene from the future. This is not a long, rambling epic. It is a short, specific, and powerful clip, no more than 20 or 30 seconds long, that captures the culmination of your desire, the moment after the goal has been achieved. For instance, instead of visualizing the entire process of finding a new job, you visualize a short scene of you calling a loved one from your beautiful new office, your heart filled with excitement and pride, saying, "I got it, it's even better than I imagined." Once you have your scene, you must make it real by engaging all of your senses. The more sensory data you include, the more your brain will accept it as a reality. Let's use the example of that new job. Close your eyes and step into the scene. First, what do you see? See the view from your office window. See the nameplate with your title on the door. See the joyful expression on your face as you look in a mirror. Make the colors bright, the details sharp. Next, what do you hear? Hear the excited voice of your loved one on the phone. Hear the quiet, productive hum of your new workplace. Hear your own voice, confident and happy. What do you smell? Perhaps the faint scent of new carpet, or the aroma of fresh coffee brewing down the hall. What do you feel physically? Kinesthetically, feel the solid, comfortable weight of your new office chair. Feel the warmth of the phone against your ear. Feel the satisfying heft of a new project folder in your hands. You have now built a detailed, multi-sensory world. But here we arrive at the most important step of all. The element that provides the fuel, the magnetic charge that draws this reality to you. You must now ask yourself, in this scene, having achieved my goal, how do I feel? This is everything. Do not just observe yourself being happy. Become the feeling of happiness. Let the elevated emotions wash over you. Feel the surge of pride. Feel the deep sense of accomplishment. Feel the thrilling freedom of financial security. Feel the profound peace of being exactly where you are meant to be. Feel the overwhelming gratitude for this dream made manifest. It is this elevated emotion that raises your frequency. The detailed scene is the vessel. The powerful feeling is the rocket fuel. Visualizing without emotion is a sterile mental exercise. Visualizing with deep, genuine feeling is a powerful act of creation that changes your state of being and begins to reorganize the energy of the universe around your new truth. This practice should not be a chore. It is not something you must force. It should be a joy, a sacred and delicious escape. It is your private movie theater where you are the writer, director, and star. And every movie has a happy ending. Find a quiet time each day. Perhaps just before you fall asleep or just after you wake up. And for 5 or 10 minutes, simply live in your beautiful scene. Enjoy it. Savor it. The purpose is not to strain or to will it into existence. The purpose is to acclimatize to the frequency of your success. It is to make the feeling of your wish fulfilled so normal, so familiar, that its eventual appearance in your physical world feels like the most natural thing imaginable. The power of this technique is not theoretical. It is used by the highest performers in every field. Olympic skiers win races in their minds 1,000 times before they ever touch the snow. Visualizing every turn, every gate, every nuance of the course until the perfect run is etched into their nervous system. World-class musicians mentally rehearse their concertos, feeling their fingers fly across the keys, hearing the flawless notes resonate in a packed concert hall. And perhaps one of the most famous modern examples is the story of the actor Jim Carrey. In the early 1990s, as a talented but struggling comedian, he made a bold, intentional act. He took out a check, made it payable to himself, and in the memo line wrote, "For acting services rendered." The amount was $10 million. He dated it for Thanksgiving, 1995, and carried it in his wallet everywhere he went. He would look at it, and he would visualize. He would feel what it would feel like to be a sought-after actor. Earning that kind of money, it was his tangible link to a future he was creating. And right around Thanksgiving of 1995, he received his paycheck for his star-making role in the film Dumb and Dumber. The amount was $10 million. You are now building your future from the inside out. You are using the divine faculty of your imagination to send a clear, powerful, and emotionally charged signal into the field of infinite possibility. You have given the universe the finished photograph of your destination. As you engage in this practice consistently, a funny thing begins to happen. The universe, having received your clear order, begins to respond. It will not likely deliver your entire dream to your doorstep overnight. Instead, it will begin to send you messages. It will leave you clues. It will start to nudge you, guiding you along the path that leads to your destination. It will begin to speak to you in a language of coincidence and perfect timing. The next step in our journey, therefore, is to learn how to listen. We must open our eyes and ears, not with the old anxiety of searching, but with the new awareness of one who is expecting guidance. We must learn to recognize the whispers of the universe, the magical language of synchronicity. You have now become the conscious architect and the deliberate artist of your inner world. You have sculpted your thoughts, aimed your intentions, and bathed your visions in the high-frequency light of gratitude and elevated emotion. You have sent a clear, powerful, and coherent signal into the cosmic field. And now, the universe begins to talk back. This is where the journey moves from pure inner work to a magical dialogue with the world around you. Life ceases to be a monologue and becomes a conversation. You must now learn to listen. For the universe rarely shouts. Instead, it speaks in whispers. It communicates through a subtle, elegant, and playful language of signs, symbols, and meaningful coincidences. It is time to learn the language of synchronicity. The term synchronicity was coined by the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung to describe events that are connected not by a direct, linear chain of cause and effect, but by their meaning. A coincidence is random. You see a blue car, and then another blue car. It means nothing. A synchronicity, however, is a coincidence that lights up with a personal and significant meaning for you, the observer. It feels different. It lands with a little jolt, a little spark of recognition, a feeling of aha. It's the universe winking at you. Imagine you spend your morning visualizing a new career path in environmental conservation. You feel a surge of passion and purpose. Later that day, you are walking down the street and find a small and discarded book on the sidewalk. You pick it up, and its title is A Greener Path. You open it, and on the first page is an inscription for the one who is ready to begin. This is not a mere coincidence. This is a synchronicity. It is a direct, meaningful echo of your inner work, reflected back to you in the physical world. Once you set the intention to notice them, you will realize that these winks and whispers are happening all the time. In a multitude of forms, they can be auditory clues. You might be agonizing over a decision, feeling stuck between holding on and letting go. And you get in your car and the first song on the radio has the lyric, "The time to hesitate is through." They can be overheard confirmations. You could be in a coffee shop, quietly contemplating a move to a new city like Denver, and the people at the table behind you begin a loud, enthusiastic conversation about how much they love living in Denver. You can experience thematic echoes. You learn a new, unusual word like perennial, and suddenly you see and hear it 5 times in the next 24 hours. This is the universe showing you that your consciousness is now tuned to a new frequency, and you are noticing things on that frequency that were always there, but were previously invisible to you. One of the most common and playful forms of synchronicity is the repetition of numbers. You may start to see 11 on the clock every day. You might glance at a license plate and see 444. Then see that your bill at the grocery store comes to $44.44. These recurring numbers are often referred to as angel numbers, but you can simply think of them as the universe's way of tapping you on the shoulder. They are a signpost, a cosmic "you are here" marker on your energetic map. They don't have a single, dogmatic meaning, but they almost always serve as an invitation to pause. Take a deep breath and pay attention to what you were just thinking or feeling in that exact moment. They are a confirmation that you are in a heightened state of alignment and that your thoughts have creative power. These signs generally serve one of 2 primary functions: confirmation or redirection. Confirmation feels like a green light. It is the universe nodding along with you, saying, "Yes, this is the way. Keep going. We are preparing the path ahead of you." These signs feel encouraging, joyful, and reassuring. They bolster your faith and affirm that your inner work is registering in the outer world. The book on the sidewalk, the song on the radio, the encouraging conversation, these are all confirmations. Redirection, on the other hand, can feel like a red light or a detour sign. It shows up as unexpected obstacles, persistent difficulty, and a general feeling of swimming upstream. A door you thought was a sure thing suddenly slams shut. A plan that seemed perfect falls apart for no logical reason. It is crucial to not interpret these as failure or as a sign that your dreams are impossible. They are not punishments. They are merciful, course-correcting messages from your co-creator, the universe, with its infinitely better vantage point. You can see that the path you are trying to force is not the most efficient or joyful one. These obstacles are an invitation to pause. Surrender your fixed idea of how it must unfold, and listen for a new, inspired action that will lead you to a much better route. What you will discover, as you begin this new way of seeing, is that the more you notice and acknowledge these synchronicities, the more frequently they will occur. What you focus on expands. By placing your attention on this magical dialogue, you are telling the universe, I am listening. I am paying attention. Send me more. Your reality will begin to feel less like a series of random, disconnected events and more like a grand, unfolding adventure story. A treasure hunt where you are both the seeker and the one for whom the treasures have been laid. This very idea is the core premise of the classic spiritual audiobook, The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Though it is a work of fiction, it is, in essence, a training manual for the soul, teaching through narrative how to perceive the subtle energy in the world and how to follow the trail of meaningful coincidences to discover your unique spiritual destiny. Living this way, in an open dialogue with the cosmos, is a source of profound comfort and guidance. It removes the terrible burden of feeling like you are all alone, trying to figure everything out by yourself. You realize you have a partner, a copilote, a creative director who is constantly leaving you notes and clues to help you along. You send out your vision, and the world responds, confirming, guiding, and co-creating with you. It is a dance, but what happens when the dance is interrupted? What happens when a perfect, undeniable synchronicity occurs? A wink so clear, it should make you laugh with delight, and yet, the first voice you hear is not one of joy, but one from inside your own head. A voice that sneers. Don't be ridiculous. That's just a coincidence. You're just making things up. This stuff isn't real. This reveals a crucial truth. The most formidable barrier to living a magical life is rarely an external obstacle. It is the internal saboteur. It is the static of our own ingrained cynicism, the heavy frequency of doubt, and the chorus of negative self-talk that has been programmed into us for years. To truly walk this path, it is not enough to simply see the signs. We must cultivate an inner environment that is clear enough to receive them, believe them, and act upon them without the immediate interference of our own inner critic. We must now turn our attention to clearing the static from our own broadcast. We must learn to face and overcome the persistent whispers of doubt. You are now walking an enchanted path. The world has begun to speak to you in a language of signs and synchronicities, and you are learning how to listen. You receive a clear sign, a perfect wink from the universe, and for a glorious moment, your heart soars. But then, almost immediately, another voice chimes in. This one from deep within. It is a cold, familiar voice. The voice of the cynic. It sneers. That's just a coincidence. You're being naive. Don't get your hopes up. This is the static. This is the inner saboteur, the guardian of your old reality, whose primary function is to keep you safely confined within the familiar, predictable walls of your past. We must now learn how to deal with this voice, not by trying to destroy it, but by understanding it, dumbing it, and consciously choosing not to let it dictate our reality. We must learn to overcome the static of our own doubt and negative self-talk. First, let us be perfectly clear. Feeling doubt, fear, or skepticism does not mean you are failing. It does not mean this process isn't working for you. It means you are human. Your ego mind, the part of your consciousness concerned with your physical survival, evolved over millions of years to be cautious. It sees the world in terms of threats and probabilities based on past evidence, a new way of life based on invisible laws. Trust and synchronicity is, to the ego, an unproven and therefore dangerous variable. Doubt is its first line of defense, an automated security system designed to herd you back toward the familiar pasture of what you have always known. Your goal is not to violently dismantle this security system, but to lovingly retrain it. To let it know there is a new sheriff in town, your conscious awareness. The first and most powerful tool in this process is the practice of mindfulness, of becoming the silent observer of your own mind. Imagine that the vast, open, clear, blue sky is your true self, your pure consciousness. Your thoughts are merely clouds that drift through that sky. Some days, the clouds are white, puffy, and pleasant. Other days, they are dark, heavy, and stormy. But you are never the clouds. You are, and always have been, the sky. The clouds are temporary weather patterns passing through. Negative self-talk is nothing more than a dark weather system. The practice is to simply notice the clouds without becoming them. When a thought of doubt arises, such as, "This will never work for me," instead of grabbing onto it and believing it, you simply observe it from a distance. You can internally label it, that is a thought of doubt, or I am noticing the feeling of fear arising. This simple act of noticing creates a space, a sacred pause between the thought and your identification with it. In that space is your freedom. In that space, you realize, perhaps for the first time, that you do not have to believe every thought that floats through your mind. You can let it pass, like a dark cloud drifting by, leaving the clear blue sky of your awareness intact. While mindfulness is the art of passively observing and letting go of negative thoughts, its active counterpart is the practice of consciously planting positive ones. This is the art of the affirmation. An affirmation is not about lying to yourself or engaging in wishful thinking. A poorly constructed affirmation, such as saying, "I am a multimillionaire," when you are deeply in debt, can create a feeling of internal conflict. A powerful affirmation works by affirming a deeper spiritual truth or a state of becoming that you are choosing to align with. It should feel empowering and expansive. For example, instead of the discordant, "I am perfectly thin," you might affirm, "I make choices every day that honor, nourish, and strengthen my beautiful body." Instead of the unbelievable, "I am fabulously wealthy," you could use the resonant, "I am a magnet for brilliant ideas and abundant opportunities," or "I am worthy and deserving of financial well-being." These statements, when repeated with genuine feeling, to begin to act like a new set of instructions for your subconscious mind. The best times to practice them are upon waking, when your mind is still soft and impressionable, and just before sleep, as your words will marinate in your consciousness all night. This is the deliberate act of carving those new neural pathways we spoke of earlier. You are the gardener of your mind. And with every positive, life-affirming statement, you are planting a seed of possibility, a seed of worthiness, a seed of trust. Over time, these new, beautiful plants will grow so strong and vibrant that they will naturally crowd out the old weeds of negative self-talk. Sometimes, however, a fear is so persistent that simply observing it or affirming over it is not enough. In these cases, we can use a more compassionate and integrative technique, a direct dialogue. Instead of treating your fear as an enemy to be vanquished, treat it as a small, scared child within you. Find a quiet moment, close your eyes, and personify the fear. Ask it, gently, "What are you so afraid of? What is the worst thing you think will happen? What are you trying to protect me from?" Listen patiently for the answer. Often, you will find the fear is trying to protect you from the pain of disappointment, the shame of failure, or the sting of ridicule. Its intention, though misguided, is to keep you safe. Once you hear its concern, you can thank it. You can say, "Thank you for trying so hard to protect me. I understand you're just trying to keep me from getting hurt." Then, with the calm authority of a loving parent, you reassure it, "But I am choosing to be brave now. I am choosing to trust in a different outcome. I've got this, and we are safe. This process integrates the fearful energy instead of repressing it, bringing a sense of wholeness and inner peace. This entire practice is perfectly encapsulated in the timeless Cherokee parable of the two wolves. A wise elder explains to his grandson that a great battle is constantly raging inside him. A battle between two wolves. One wolf is dark. It is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other wolf is light. It is joy, peace, love, hope, kindness, empathy, truth, and faith. The grandson, with wide eyes, asks, "Grandfather, which wolf wins?" The old chief replies simply, "The one you feed. Your negative thoughts, your doubts, your fears. These are the dark wolf. Your gratitude, your visualizations, your affirmations of truth. These are the light wolf. Your attention, your focus, and your belief are the food. Every moment of every day, you are making a choice about which wolf you will feed." A master text for learning how to control this inner dialogue is the profound audiobook, The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. The very first agreement, be impeccable with your word, is the foundation. Ruiz explains that your word has the creative power of God, and being impeccable means using that power in the direction of truth and love. This applies, most critically, to the words you use inside your own mind. To engage in negative self-talk is to use your divine power against yourself. It is a form of self-inflicted curse. To choose words of encouragement, worthiness, and trust is to use your power to bless your own life. By practicing these techniques, observing your thoughts, affirming your truth, dialoguing with your fear, and choosing which wolf to feed, you become the master of your inner world. You learn to clean the static from your own channel, allowing the guidance of the universe to come through with greater clarity and power. And with this newfound internal resilience, you are now ready to confront and dismantle one of the most pervasive and damaging pieces of static that is broadcasted by the outside world. A core belief system that is the very foundation of fear. It is the great hypnotizing illusion that there is not enough to go around. To take the next step into true freedom, we must face this illusion head-on. We must learn to see past the lie of scarcity and awaken to the profound and vibrant reality of abundance. We have been diligently working to clear the static from our internal radio, learning to observe our thoughts and tame the inner critic. But now we must turn our attention to the most pervasive and powerful source of static there is. An invisible frequency that has been broadcasted so constantly and for so long that most of us have mistaken it for the sound of reality itself. It is the low, incessant hum of scarcity. It is the foundational operating system of fear, a program that runs silently in the background of our society, whispering its core, hypnotic message into every corner of our lives. There is not enough money, not enough time, not enough good jobs, not enough love, not enough opportunities. This single, pervasive belief is the very bedrock of anxiety, the source of competition, and the engine of the fear that makes our choices feel so heavy. To truly live a life of freedom and flow, we must unplug from this program. We must shatter the great illusion of scarcity and awaken to the vibrant, undeniable, and ever-present reality of abundance. This scarcity programming is not entirely our fault. It has been installed in us from multiple sources. It is, in part, an evolutionary hangover. Our ancient ancestors lived in a world of genuine and often brutal scarcity, where a missed meal or a harsh winter could mean death. Their brains evolved a negativity bias, a hypervigilance for what was lacking, because it kept them alive. In the modern world, this survival mechanism has become a source of chronic anxiety. This ancient wiring is then reinforced by our social and economic structures. Many of our systems are built on a model of competition for limited resources, creating a paradigm of winners and losers. Advertising, one of the most powerful forces in our culture, is designed almost entirely to create a feeling of lack within you. It exists to make you feel that you are not thin enough, successful enough, or happy enough, so that you will buy a product to fill that manufactured void. The news media relentlessly focuses our attention on disaster, conflict, and problems, painting a picture of a world in constant crisis and peril. We are, from birth, marinated in the frequency of not enough. This programming forces us into a painful and unnatural state of competition with one another. If you believe there is only one pie, then every piece that someone else takes is a piece that you cannot have. Another person's success becomes a threat to your own. Their happiness becomes a mirror for your own perceived lack. This mindset is the root of envy, jealousy, hoarding, and suspicion. It makes us cling tightly to what we have, terrified of losing it, and look at others not as fellow travelers, but as rivals in a great cosmic struggle for limited supplies. But this entire worldview is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the universe. It confuses the temporary, material distribution of things with the infinite, inexhaustible source from which all things come. The universe itself is wildly, extravagantly, and infinitely abundant. Does the sun diminish its light by shining on one person's face instead of another's? Does it ration its warmth? No. It pours forth trillions of tons of energy every second. A star of impossible generosity that will burn for billions of years. Does the ocean become impoverished when you take a single bucket of water from its shore? No. Its essential nature is vastness. This same principle applies to the non-material resources that create our reality. Take ideas. An idea is not a finite commodity. If I share a brilliant idea with you, I have not lost it. In fact, we have doubled it. And by combining our unique perspectives, we can now grow it into something even greater. Ideas are infinitely abundant. And what of love? Is your heart like a small cup that can only hold a few ounces of love? So that loving a new child means you must love your partner less? Of course not. A heart that truly loves finds that its capacity to love only expands. True love is, by its very nature, abundant. This is the reality that spiritual masters have taught for centuries. A truth articulated with brilliant clarity in classic audiobooks like The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. He speaks of a formless, thinking substance from which all things are made. This substance, he explains, is intelligent, alive, and its natural impulse is always toward more life, toward expansion and fuller expression. It is infinitely abundant. There is no lack in the source. Our experience of lack is only the result of our choice to use our thoughts to create from a place of fear and limitation, rather than from a place of faith and expansion. When you make the conscious shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, your entire experience of life transforms. The person operating from scarcity sees another's success and feels the bitter pang of envy, thinking, "They got lucky. They took my opportunity." The person operating from abundance sees the same success and feels a surge of genuine inspiration, thinking, "Look at what is possible." Their success is proof that abundance is real and available. The scarcity mindset hoards information, resources, and connections, afraid to let anything go. The abundance mindset shares freely, knowing that the act of giving opens the channel to receive even more. Generosity becomes a joyful expression of trust in the infinite supply. And this brings us back to the heart of our journey, the weight of choice. Nearly all the anxiety surrounding our choices is a direct product of the scarcity mindset. The fear of making the wrong choice is entirely rooted in the belief that you only get one shot. If you choose the wrong career, you believe you will be stuck, because good jobs are scarce. If you let a potential partner go, you panic, Because you believe your chances at love are limited. You treat every decision as a final, high-stakes exam with only one correct answer. Because you believe the universe is a miser, doling out opportunities with a stingy hand. Now, feel the profound liberation of making choices from a place of abundance. From this new vantage point, there is no such thing as a wrong choice. There are only different paths, different adventures, different learning experiences. If you take a job and it turns out to be a dead end, you do not despair. You feel gratitude for the lessons it taught you, and you trust, with joyful anticipation, that the universe, in its infinite creativity, is already lining up an even better opportunity for you. You know that the supply is endless. If a relationship ends, you do not crumble with the fear of being alone forever. You bless the time you had. You integrate the wisdom you gained. And you know, with a deep and abiding faith, that a universe filled with billions of souls has an infinite supply of love and connection available to you. The weight vanishes. The paralysis dissolves. Choice is no longer a terrifying test you might fail, but a joyful dance you get to lead. You are free to explore, to experiment, to be bold, to be brave. Because you are no longer playing a zero-sum game with a stingy universe. You are a cherished child of an infinitely abundant cosmos, and it delights in providing you with endless possibilities. You have now upgraded your fundamental operating system from the cramped, fearful prison of scarcity to the wide-open, sunlit landscape of abundance. Your entire perception of reality has shifted, but with this new, expansive view, how do we best navigate the analytical mind, so useful for solving problems within the old paradigm, is not always the best tool for surfing the infinite waves of this abundant field. We possess a much older, wiser, and more intuitive guidance system, one that speaks not in words, but in feelings. It is a compass that resides not in our head, but in our very cells. To become true masters of navigation in this new reality, we must now learn to listen to the whispers of our own physical being. We must learn to trust the wisdom of the body. We have journeyed deep into the mind, upgrading our core beliefs from the cramped operating system of scarcity to the wide-open, sunlit reality of abundance. We have learned to use our thoughts and intentions as the architects of our future. But the mind, as powerful as it is not the only intelligence we possess. In fact, it is the youngest and most talkative member of a much older, wiser council we carry with us every moment of every day. A living oracle, an instrument of truth so profound and so accurate that it cannot be deceived. That oracle is your body. We must now learn to quiet the incessant chatter of the analytical mind so that we can finally hear the deep, silent, and unwavering wisdom of ourselves. It is time to learn how to use the body as a compass. Your conscious mind processes information in a linear, logical fashion. It analyzes past data, weighs pros and cons, and constructs arguments based on the evidence it can see. It is a powerful tool, but it is slow, and its perspective is limited to what it has already experienced. Your body, however, operates on an entirely different level. It is a highly sensitive, energetic instrument, constantly processing millions of bits of non-verbal information from your environment. It feels energy directly. It senses the unspoken intention behind a person's words. It detects the subtle dissonance in an environment that looks perfectly fine on the surface. It does this instantly and holistically, bypassing the need for logic. It simply knows. The mind is the scholar reading a detailed travel guide about a foreign country. The body is the traveler who is actually there, feeling the warmth of its sun, breathing its air, and sensing the unspoken mood of its people. The language of this bodily wisdom is not spoken in words. It is a primal, binary language of feeling, a language of expansion and contraction. Your only job is to learn how to feel it, Contraction is the body's note. It is a signal of dissonance, a warning that something is out of alignment with your truth. Think about a time you were about to do something you knew. On some deep level, you shouldn't. Remember that feeling. It is a tightening in your gut, a subtle clenching in your jaw, a hollowness in your chest. It can feel like a sense of dread, a feeling of heaviness, or just a vague, unsettling sense of offness. It is your body's way of pulling its energy field inward, of protecting itself, of saying, "Stop. This path is not for us. This frequency is harmful." How many times have you had this feeling, dismissed it as irrational, and pushed forward anyway, only to regret it later? That was your compass, trying to warn you off the rocks. Expansion, on the other hand, is the body's resonant, joyful, yes. It is the signal of alignment, harmony, and truth. Think about a time you were presented with an opportunity that made your heart leap. Think about the feeling of being in the presence of someone you deeply love and trust. That is the feeling of expansion. It is a sensation of lightness in your chest, a warmth that spreads through your body, a feeling of your energy field literally opening up and becoming larger. It can feel like excitement, eagerness, flow, or a deep, quiet sense of rightness. It is your body's way of saying, "More of this. Please. This is our frequency. Move in this direction." This language is the most honest guidance you will ever receive. Because, unlike the mind, the body does not know how to lie. It simply reflects the energetic truth of a situation. This is not mystical conjecture or New Age fantasy. The profound intelligence of our gut feelings is now being validated by modern science. Your gastrointestinal tract is lined with what is now officially referred to as the enteric nervous system, or ENS. This system contains over 100 million neurons, more than are found in your entire spinal cord. It is so complex and operates with such a high degree of autonomy that scientists have nicknamed it our second brain. This second brain is in constant communication with the brain in your head, and it is responsible for producing a huge percentage of the body's neurotransmitters, including about 90% of our serotonin, the key regulator of mood. So when you feel that knot of dread in your stomach or that flutter of excitement in your gut, you are not just being emotional. You are receiving and processing complex data through a sophisticated neural network. Your gut instinct is, quite literally, your second brain talking to you. Imagine a seasoned entrepreneur who is presented with a potential business merger. On paper, the deal is perfect, the financials are solid, the market projections are glowing, and her board of directors is unanimously urging her to sign. Her logical mind has run the numbers and concluded that this is a can't-miss opportunity. But every time she sits in a meeting with the prospective partners, she feels a subtle, cold clenching in her stomach. When she thinks about the deal, her shoulders feel heavy. Her breathing becomes shallow. There is no logical reason for it. The other parties are charming and professional, but her body is screaming no. She is faced with a choice: trust the overwhelming data from her logical mind, or trust the quiet, inexplicable wisdom of her body's compass. She chooses the latter. She walks away from the deal, much to the confusion and frustration of her team. 6 months later, an investigative report reveals that the partner company was a facade, engaged in massive financial fraud. The entire enterprise implodes, taking its investors with it. Her logical mind would have led her into ruin. Her body's compass led her to safety. So, how do we cultivate this deep connection and learn to trust our somatic intelligence? It begins with practice. One of the most effective methods is a simple body scan meditation. Find a quiet place, lay down, and close your eyes, starting with the tips of your toes. Slowly bring your gentle, non-judgmental attention to each part of your body. One by one, simply notice what is there. Is there tension, warmth, tingling, numbness? You are not trying to change anything, only to listen. This practice, performed regularly, rebuilds the communication channels between your conscious mind and your body. You can also practice with a simple body pendulum. Stand quietly and think of something that is an absolute, unequivocal yes for you, like the love for a child or a pet. Notice the subtle way your body sways, perhaps slightly forward. This is your yes. Now, think of something that is an absolute no, and notice the different sway, perhaps slightly backward. You have now calibrated your personal compass, and you can use it to test choices by seeing how your body sways when you contemplate them. Ultimately, this is about cultivating a new habit. Before making any decision, from choosing what to eat for lunch to considering a life-changing proposal, take a moment. Pause. Take 3 deep breaths, placing a hand on your heart or your gut. Quiet the chattering mind and ask your body, not your head, a simple question: does this feel like expansion or contraction? And then, I have the courage to honor the answer. You have now added a profound new layer to your navigational toolkit. You are no longer just thinking your way through life. You are feeling your way forward. You have calibrated your internal compass. But this compass does not operate in a vacuum. Its needle can be swayed and disrupted by the magnetic fields of the world around you, especially the powerful energetic fields of other people. To keep our compass true, we must now learn to manage our energetic environment. We must learn to consciously choose our tribe. You have now learned to calibrate your internal world. You are practicing the art of listening to the wisdom of your body, using its subtle language of expansion and contraction as your most trusted and reliable compass. This compass is a precision instrument, finely tuned to the frequency of your own soul. But even the most perfect compass can be rendered useless if it is placed next to a powerful, disruptive, magnetic field in the landscape of your life. The most powerful energetic fields you will ever encounter are the people with whom you choose to spend your time. We must now turn our attention from our inner environment to our immediate outer environment. For choosing your relationships is not merely a social preference, it is a profound act of energetic hygiene. It is time to consciously and deliberately choose your tribe. There is a well-known adage, often attributed to the speaker Jim Rohn, that states, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This is often interpreted in terms of wealth, habits, or intellect, but its truest and deepest meaning is energetic, through a scientific principle known as resonant entrainment. When 2 vibrating objects are near each other, they will naturally begin to synchronize their frequencies. This is why a room full of grandfather clocks will eventually tick in unison. The same is true for human energy fields. The people you surround yourself with are constantly influencing your vibration. Their dominant frequency is either lifting yours higher or dragging it lower. Take a moment now for an honest inventory. Think about the 5 people to whom you give the most of your precious time and attention. Do they operate from a place of possibility or from a place of limitation? Is their default language one of gratitude or of complaint? Do they speak of what is going right in the world or what is going wrong? Do they see abundance or do they see scarcity? There is no judgment here, only awareness. Their energetic state is the energetic weather you choose to live in every day. You cannot expect to cultivate a vibrant, sun-drenched inner garden if you consistently choose to spend your time in the company of people who bring the storm clouds of negativity with them, wherever they go. Within this dynamic, there exists a specific archetype of person whose influence can be particularly detrimental to your creative journey. These are the ones often referred to as energy vampires. This term is not meant to condemn them as evil. Most are not acting with malicious intent. They are often people operating from their own deep, unhealed pain, who have learned to replenish their own depleted life force by draining it from others. The chronic complainer is one such type. Someone who finds a problem for every solution and insists on pulling you down into their mire of misery. There is the constant critic, who, often under the guise of being realistic, pokes holes in your dreams and ambitions, projecting their own fears and limitations onto you. There is the drama magnet, who thrives on chaos and crisis, and who will always try to recruit you as a supporting actor in their latest theatrical production of disaster. And there is the conversational narcissist, who uses you as an energetic dumping ground, talking endlessly about their own problems without ever once asking about you or your life. Being in the presence of these energetic dynamics can leave you feeling exhausted, foggy, and drained, as if your own life force has been siphoned away. Protecting yourself is not an act of aggression. It is an act of profound self-love. It may mean learning to set firm, clear boundaries. It might mean limiting your time with certain individuals, or keeping conversations light and superficial, refusing to be drawn into the familiar vortex of their negativity. And in some cases, particularly with relationships that are consistently toxic, it may mean making the courageous and loving choice both for yourself and for them to release the relationship entirely. This must be done without guilt, understanding that your primary responsibility is to protect the sacred space within which your dreams are meant to grow. To understand this dynamic visually, imagine the classic metaphor of crabs in a bucket. If you place a single crab in a tall bucket, it can often find its way out. But if you place a group of crabs in that same bucket, something fascinating and tragic occurs. As soon as one crab begins to climb, nearing the top and its freedom, the other crabs below will reach up and pull it back down into the pile. This is the perfect illustration of a tribe operating from a scarcity mindset. They believe there is only so much success or happiness to go around, and they cannot stand to see another escape the shared misery of the bucket. Now, contrast this with the inspiring image of a flock of wild geese flying in a V formation. The geese adopt this pattern for a reason of profound energetic efficiency and mutual support. The flapping of the lead goose's wings creates a pocket of uplift for the goose directly behind it, making its flight easier. When the lead goose tires, it rotates back into the formation, and another goose takes its place at the point. From the back of the formation, the geese honk, not in anger, but in encouragement, urging the leaders onward. This is the model of a conscious, high-frequency tribe. They understand that by working together, by uplifting one another, the entire flock can travel further, faster, and with less effort than any single goose could alone. They celebrate and support the success of each individual, knowing it benefits the whole. Your task is to consciously seek out and cultivate your own V formation. Look for the people who celebrate your victories without a trace of envy. Seek out the friends who, when you share a bold new dream, don't ask, "Are you sure you can do that?" but instead ask, with genuine excitement, "That's amazing. How can I help?" These are the people who challenge you to be better, but who also offer a hand when you stumble. They operate from a place of abundance, believing that your light does not diminish theirs, but instead makes the world a brighter place for everyone. This brings us to a crucial realization. The choice of who you allow into your inner circle is not a secondary detail of your life. It is a primary creative act. As vital as your visualizations and as powerful as your intentions, your relationships form the energetic soil in which the seeds of your dreams must take root. If that soil is toxic, acidic, and choked with the weeds of cynicism and complaint, even the most magnificent seed will struggle to sprout. But if you plant your seeds in soil that is rich, nurturing, aerated with laughter, and watered with mutual encouragement, your intentions will flourish with a speed and vibrancy that will astound you. Take a moment to perform an honest, energetic audit of your key relationships. For each person, ask your body, your unfailing compass, after spending time with this person, do I feel energized or drained? Do I feel lighter or heavier? Do I feel more expansive or more constricted? Your body knows the answer. Trust it. We have now learned to calibrate our inner world and to consciously curate our immediate outer world. We are building a powerful, resonant, high-frequency sanctuary for ourselves. From within this fortress of clarity and support, we are now strong enough to re-examine the very nature of choice itself, and to dismantle one of the oldest fears that has held us captive. We are ready to challenge the idea that we can ever truly make a mistake. We are ready to explore the liberating truth behind the myth of the right choice. We have calibrated our inner compass and curated our outer tribe. We are standing in a place of unprecedented clarity and energetic support. And yet, even from this empowered vantage point, an old ghost can still rise to haunt us at the moment of decision. It is the deep, primal fear of getting it wrong. It is the voice of an inner judge, holding a colossal red pen, poised to stamp a permanent, failing grade on the script of our lives if we choose incorrectly. This single fear is the very source of the weight of choice. It is the belief that life is a final exam, and that one wrong answer can seal our fate forever. We are here now to fire that judge. We are here to shatter that illusion. We are here to explore the profoundly liberating truth behind the myth of the right choice. This pass or fail mentality is a program that has been installed in us since childhood. In school, we were taught that for every question, there is one right answer and a multitude of wrong ones. We were rewarded for correctness and penalized for error. Our classic stories and fairy tales reinforced this binary thinking. The hero chooses the correct, humble path and finds the kingdom, while the foolish brother chooses the path of greed and is eaten by a dragon. Our entire society, obsessed with optimization and efficiency, implicitly suggests that there is one best way to live, one right career path, one ideal type of family. This conditions us to view every major decision as a high-stakes, sweat-inducing test. We believe there is a single, magical right door. And if we, through some terrible flaw in our judgment, choose any of the other doors, we will have forfeited our chance at happiness. This belief, and this belief alone, is the source of our paralysis. But the universe, the great, conscious intelligence in which we live and breathe, does not operate like a rigid schoolmaster. It operates like an infinitely curious and compassionate explorer. From its vast perspective, there is no such thing as a mistake. There are no wrong answers. There are only experiences. There are only lessons. There is only the gathering of more data for the grand adventure of consciousness unfolding. Every path you could possibly choose contains a unique and precious gift of wisdom that is essential for your soul's evolution. The path of a failed business teaches you resilience, humility, and the true value of $1 in a way that instant success never could. The path of a broken heart cracks you open and teaches you the depths of your own compassion in a way that a seamless romance might not. The path that leads to a dead end teaches you, with absolute clarity, the direction you no longer wish to travel, which is a lesson just as valuable as knowing where to go. This very principle is the soul of Paulo Coelho's timeless masterpiece, the audiobook, The Alchemist. The story follows a young shepherd boy, Santiago, on a quest to find a treasure he has seen in a dream. From a purely logical, results-oriented perspective, his journey is a catastrophic failure of efficiency. He makes one wrong choice after another. He trusts the wrong person and is immediately robbed of all his money. He abandons his quest for an entire year to take a menial job in a crystal shop. He falls in love and considers giving up his treasure hunt entirely. He follows omens that lead him into tribal wars and mortal danger. And yet, the profound magic of the story is the revelation that every single one of these apparent missteps, every detour and delay, was an absolutely indispensable part of his path. It was in being robbed that he was forced to learn a new language and a new way of life. It was in the crystal shop that he learned the principles of patience and how to improve the world around him. It was in falling in love that he learned to speak the language of the heart and read the signs of the universe. Without these mistakes, he would have arrived at the pyramids as the same naive shepherd boy who began the journey, utterly incapable of understanding the treasure that awaited him. His crooked, winding, inefficient path was, in fact, the only path that could have led to his fulfillment. This is a mirror for our own lives. Our detours are our destiny. The fear of choosing incorrectly is also fueled by the illusion of finality. We treat a decision as if it were a door locking permanently behind us, a life sentence from which there is no appeal. This is a prison of our own making. Life is not static, it is a fluid, dynamic, and endlessly responsive field of energy. You can always choose again. Think of your life's journey like a trip navigated by a GPS. If you take a turn that leads you away from your intended destination, the GPS does not shut down and declare your trip a failure. It does not berate you for your poor choice. It simply, calmly, and without judgment, announces, recalculating, and in the next moment, it offers you a new set of instructions to get you back on track from where you are now. Your life is infinitely more intelligent and responsive than a GPS. At any moment, you can pause, reassess, and recalculate. You can make a U-turn. You can choose a new destination entirely. The only thing that ever truly locks you into a path you don't want is the mistaken belief that you are locked in. The power to choose anew resides within you in every present moment. So, let this be a moment of profound liberation. You can now officially resign from the stressful, unpaid, and impossible job of being the perfect decision maker. You can release the crushing burden of needing to know the end from the beginning. You can give yourself permission to be a curious explorer, a playful artist. An artist does not fear a wrong brushstroke. They know that a happy accident can lead the painting in a new and unexpectedly beautiful direction. An explorer does not fear a path that doesn't lead to the desired ruins. They know the joy is in the discovery of the journey itself. When you are no longer terrified of getting it wrong, the entire energy of choice transforms. The weight dissolves and is replaced by a sense of wonder. The paralysis melts into a feeling of adventurous freedom. You are free to follow a spark of curiosity, just to see where it leads. You are free to take a chance on something that just feels expansive, without needing a logical guarantee of its outcome. You are free, knowing that any door you open will contain a room, and every room will contain a lesson. And every lesson will be exactly the one you need for the next stage of your magnificent journey. We have now, hopefully, dismantled the core anxiety that makes choice a burden. We have reframed our lives, not as a test to be passed, but as an adventure to be lived. And yet, even on the most exciting adventure, there are periods of stillness. There are times when, having made a choice and planted a seed, we must simply walk a path of patient waiting. Our modern world, with its addiction to instant notifications and next-day delivery, has made us profoundly uncomfortable with this sacred and necessary phase of the creative process. When results are not immediate, the old doubts can begin to creep back in, questioning our choice, questioning the process itself. To become true masters of creation, we must therefore make peace with the tempo of the cosmos. We must learn to trust not only the path, but also the timing. It is time to embrace the deep, quiet wisdom of patience and divine timing. We have courageously dismantled the myth of the right choice, liberating ourselves from the paralysis of perfection and embracing the joyous adventure of experience. We are now explorers, following our curiosity down new and interesting paths, trusting that each one holds a necessary lesson. But even on the most magnificent adventure, there are moments of stillness. There are periods of walking through valleys, of waiting for the sun to rise, of navigating the quiet interludes between one significant event and the next. It is in these moments that a new and subtle challenge emerges, one born directly from the fabric of our modern world. It is the challenge of patience. We live in a civilization addicted to the immediate. We can download a movie in minutes, order food with a tap of a screen, and receive almost any product at our doorstep the very next day. This has conditioned us to expect instant gratification in all areas of our lives. And it has made us profoundly uncomfortable with the forgotten art of sacred waiting. To become true co-creators with the cosmos, we must unlearn our addiction to speed and realign ourselves with the deep, organic, and perfect rhythm of creation. We must embrace the wisdom of patience and the miracle of divine timing. Nature itself is our greatest teacher in this regard. No farmer can force a seed to sprout faster by yelling at it. No biologist can rush the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. A magnificent oak tree grows from a tiny acorn over the course of a century. Not a weekend. The entire universe operates on a rhythm of gestation, growth, and unfolding. There is an innate, unhurried intelligence guiding all of creation. This brings us to the cake analogy. Imagine you have gathered the finest ingredients for a cake, your clear intention and elevated emotions. You have mixed them together perfectly through visualization and gratitude. You have placed the cake in the oven, surrendering it to the creative process. And now, you wait. You cannot, in your impatience, crank the oven up to 1,000 degrees, hoping to bake it in 5 minutes. You will not get a faster cake. You will get a burnt, inedible mess. The recipe requires a specific temperature and a specific amount of time to allow the ingredients to merge, to rise, to transform into the delicious reality you desire. Your dreams, your intentions, are exactly the same. They require a sacred gestation period to unfold perfectly. Impatience, therefore, is not a simple flaw in character. It is an active form of energetic resistance. It is a broadcast of distrust. When we are pacing the floor, constantly checking for results, and anxiously asking the universe, is it here yet? Why isn't it happening? What's taking so long? We are sending out a powerful signal of doubt. It is like planting a beautiful seed in your garden and then digging it up every morning to see if it has sprouted roots. That very act of anxious checking is what guarantees the seed will never grow. Impatience is a constricted frequency. It is the energy of lack, the feeling that it's not here, which can only attract more experiences of not here-ness. Patience, on the other hand, is a state of being that vibrates with faith and trust. It is a calm, open, and allowing frequency. It is the quiet knowing that you have done your part and the universal forces are now doing theirs. Patience keeps your receiving channels clear, while impatience clogs them with the static of fear. This brings us to the profound and comforting concept of divine timing. Your ego, with its limited perspective, has a timeline. It wants the new job by next month, the soulmate by summer, the financial windfall by the end of the year. This timeline is based only on what you can see and what you currently desire. Divine timing, however, is the universe's master plan, which sees the entire, infinitely complex, and interconnected web of all creation. It is orchestrating events not just for your highest good, but for the highest good of every single person connected to your manifestation. The opportunity you are seeking might require someone else to leave their current position, and they are not quite ready. The partner you are dreaming of may be in the process of ending another relationship or learning a crucial lesson they need before they can meet you as their whole self. Divine timing understands all of this. It is lining up a million moving pieces in perfect, synchronous harmony. What feels like a frustrating delay to your ego is, from a higher perspective, a merciful and necessary part of a flawless orchestration. There is a timeless Taoist parable that illustrates this truth perfectly. It is the story of an old farmer in a small Chinese village. One day, his only horse runs away. His neighbors come to console him, saying, "Oh, what terrible luck." The farmer simply replies, "Perhaps the next week." The horse returns, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. The neighbors gather to celebrate, exclaiming, "What wonderful luck." The farmer again replies, "Perhaps The following day, the farmer's son tries to tame one of the wild horses, is thrown off, and breaks his leg. The neighbors shake their heads. Truly, this is bad luck, the farmer calmly says. Perhaps, a few weeks later, the emperor's army comes to the village, conscripting every able-bodied young man for a brutal war from which few will return. Because of his broken leg, the farmer's son is spared. The moral is clear: we, with our limited, ground-level view, cannot possibly know whether any single event or any delay is truly good or bad luck. Divine timing sees the whole picture. Our frantic impatience is born from the illusion that we know better than the master weaver of the tapestry. So, how do we navigate these periods of waiting? We must reframe them. The in-between time is not an empty waiting room where you passively sit until your number is called. It is a sacred and active period of preparation. The universe is giving you this time for a reason. It is giving you the space to become the person who is truly a vibrational match for the reality you have asked for. If you have asked for a great and conscious partnership, this is your time to become a great and conscious partner to yourself. Learn to love your own company. Heal your old wounds. Cultivate your own joy. If you have asked for a position of great leadership, this is your time to develop your integrity, your skills, and your character. The universe will not hand you a reality that you are not yet energetically, emotionally, and spiritually equipped to handle. So, during the waiting, ask yourself this powerful question: who do I need to be ready for this dream when it arrives? Then, joyfully use this time to become that person. It is not a waiting room, it is your personal training ground. Patience, then, is not passive resignation. It is active faith. It is the calm and unwavering trust that what is meant for you is already yours, traveling toward you through time and space on a schedule that is far more intelligent than your own. It is a deep peace born from the knowing that you are co-creating with a force of infinite wisdom and love. And yet, sometimes, the delays we experience are not just the sacred unfolding of divine timing. Sometimes, we ourselves are the source of the delay. We can be unknowingly dragging heavy anchors from our past, anchors of old resentments, old guilts, and old grievances that prevent our ship from sailing freely into the harbor of our dreams. To fully align with the beautiful rhythm of creation, we must be willing to cut these energetic ropes. We must undertake the essential clearing process that comes from one of the most powerful frequency resets known to humankind, the act of forgiveness. We have learned to embrace the unhurried and perfect rhythm of divine timing, cultivating a deep and active faith that all is unfolding for our highest good. But sometimes, the reason our ship is not sailing swiftly toward the shore of our dreams is not because the winds are calm or the tides are slow. It is because we are unknowingly dragging heavy, rusted anchors from our past. These anchors are our resentments, our grievances, our regrets, and our guilt. They are the dense, heavy energies of unforgiveness that tether us to old pains and prevent us from moving freely into our future. To truly align with the creative flow of the universe, we must be willing to perform one of the most liberating acts a human being can undertake. We must take the bolt cutters of compassion to those old, heavy chains. We must learn the art of forgiveness as a profound and powerful frequency reset. There is a powerful saying that circulates in many wisdom traditions: to hold on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Let that sink in. When you refuse to forgive someone, you are the one who is forced to relive the painful event over and over. In the theater of your mind, you are the one whose body is flooded with the toxic, stress-inducing chemistry of anger and bitterness. The person who harmed you may be miles away, living their life, perhaps not even remembering the event that has become a cornerstone of your suffering. The only person being consistently and reliably poisoned by your unforgiveness is you. It is a form of self-inflicted torment, a prison in which you are simultaneously the inmate, the warden, and the one who holds the key to your own cell. From an energetic perspective, the act of holding a grudge is catastrophic to your creative power. the emotions associated with unforgiveness: blame, resentment, hatred, regret, guilt are among the lowest and densest frequencies on the vibrational scale. They are heavy, sticky energies that act as a gravitational anchor, holding your personal frequency firmly in the past. It is impossible to simultaneously vibrate at the high, light frequency of your joyful, abundant future while also vibrating at the low, dense frequency of a past grievance. You cannot be tuned to both radio stations at once. By refusing to forgive, you are dedicating a significant portion of your precious creative life force to perpetually sustaining an energetic reality that you do not want. You are using your powerful imagination not to build your new home, but to endlessly renovate your old prison. This is the ultimate energy leak, draining you of the very power you need to manifest your dreams. It is here that we must confront the great misunderstanding about forgiveness. Many resist it because they believe it means condoning the hurtful behavior. They think it means saying, "What you did was okay." This could not be further from the truth. Let this be absolutely clear. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was acceptable. It does not mean the other person is absolved of their actions. It does not mean you have to forget what happened. And it certainly does not mean you must reconcile with that person or allow them back into your life. Forgiveness is not about them at all. It is a 100% purely selfish act of your own liberation. Forgiveness is an internal process. It is the conscious decision to cancel an emotional debt you feel you are owed. It is a declaration that you will no longer allow a past event to consume your present energy. It is the moment you take your power back from the person or situation that harmed you, and you bring that power home to yourself, where it belongs. It is you, the warden, finally deciding to walk out of the prison and leave the cell empty. There is a classic Zen story that beautifully illustrates this. Two monks, an older one and a younger one, were traveling a muddy road. They came to a river where a beautiful young woman in fine clothes stood, afraid to cross without soiling her garments. Without a word, the older monk swiftly picked her up, carried her across the churning water, and placed her gently on the other side. He bowed, and the monks continued their journey. Hours passed. The younger monk grew more and more agitated, his face a mask of disapproval. Finally, unable to contain himself any longer, he burst out, "Master, how could you do that? Our monastic vows strictly forbid us from even touching a woman." It was a serious transgression. The old monk looked at his young companion with a calm, gentle expression. "Brother," he said, "I put that woman down by the side of the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? We are all, in some way, like that young monk. The resentments we carry, the grudges we nurse, the old hurts we replay, these are the women we are still carrying on our backs, long after the river has been crossed, weighing ourselves down and poisoning our journey." Forgiveness is the simple, profound act of putting her down, and while forgiving others is essential, very often the most difficult but most crucial act of forgiveness is the one we must grant to ourselves. We can be our own most merciless judges, holding ourselves hostage for decades over past choices, past failures, past mistakes we made when we were younger and less aware. We crucify ourselves with the benefit of hindsight, thinking I should have known better. This is where we must integrate the wisdom we have already gained. There are no wrong choices, only lessons. To forgive yourself is to fully embrace that truth. It is to look back at the younger version of you not with condemnation, but with the same deep compassion you would offer a child who has fallen and scraped their knee. That version of you did the very best they could with the consciousness, the knowledge, and the emotional tools they had at the time. To condemn them is an act of cruelty. To forgive them is an act of grace. It is to finally say, "You learned, you grew, you are released." This act reclaims all the vital energy you have been using to prosecute your own past and makes it available for the glorious task of creating your future. In spiritual texts like the profound audiobook, A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is presented as the central practice for healing all of creation. The key that unlocks the door from a world of fear to a world of love by helping us see past the illusions of sin and guilt to the eternal innocence within everyone, including ourselves. Forgiveness, then, is the ultimate energetic decluttering. It is the cutting of anchors, the canceling of old debts, the sweeping out of the heavy, dusty energies of the past. It cleans your slate. It lightens your entire being. And with this newfound lightness, with your life force now fully reclaimed and available to you in the present moment, you are poised for a quantum leap in your creative abilities. You are unburdened, untethered, and free. Now, with all of this reclaimed power at your command, where shall you direct it? Let us now turn our focus to an area of life that is so often tangled in knots of fear, guilt, and scarcity, and yet is so ripe for the application of these powerful principles. It is time to solve the prosperity puzzle. It is time to learn how to align the creation of tangible wealth with the deepest purpose of your soul. Having cut the heavy anchors of past resentment through the liberating act of forgiveness, you now stand lighter, freer, and more powerful than ever before. Your full life force energy is available to you in the present moment, ready to be directed. So, where shall we point this magnificent, reclaimed power? Let us now turn to an area of life that for many is a source of great anxiety, confusion, and struggle. It is an area wrapped in layers of societal programming and personal blocks. It is time for us to take all the profound energetic principles we have learned and apply them to solve the prosperity puzzle. And in doing so, to learn how to align the creation of tangible wealth with the deepest, most authentic purpose of your soul. First, we must demystify money. In our world, money has been imbued with an almost mythical power. It has been made into a measure of worth, a symbol of success, and for many, an object of worship or of condemnation. But in truth, money is none of these things. Money is one of the most neutral and impersonal forces on the planet. It is simply a tool. It is a form of condensed energy, a convenient symbol we use to exchange value. Money is not good or evil. It is merely a magnifier. Like a magnifying glass, it will simply make more of what is already there. If you are a generous, creative, and kind person, money will magnify your ability to be generous, creative, and kind. If you are a fearful, greedy, and insecure person, money will only magnify your fear, your greed, and your insecurity. To chase money for its own sake is a spiritual dead end. It is like a master carpenter who becomes obsessed with collecting hammers instead of joyfully building beautiful houses. The tool is never the point. The joyful act of creation is the point. This leads us to the great secret of true and lasting prosperity. It does not come from chasing money. It comes from discovering and generously sharing your unique gifts with the world. Every single person, without exception, is born with a unique soul signature, a one-of-a-kind combination of talents, passions, curiosities, and perspectives. This is your sacred offering, the gift that only you can give to the world in your own specific way. True prosperity is not measured by the number in your bank account, but by the deep, resonant joy you feel while expressing your unique gifts in a way that provides value to others. Think of the world as a grand orchestra. The scarcity mindset, which we have left behind, tells us that everyone should learn to play the violin because violinists get the most applause. This results in a chaotic and unpleasant noise. The abundance mindset understands that the most beautiful symphony is created when each musician plays their own instrument with mastery and love. The world doesn't need another reluctant violinist. It needs you to play your magnificent flute, your powerful drums, or your soulful cello with all your heart. Your unique gift is your instrument, when you align your work and your life with the joyful playing of your own instrument. A magical shift occurs. You enter a state of flow, of enthusiasm, of inspiration. The word inspiration literally means in spirit. You are operating from a place of high frequency, joyful energy. From this state, you naturally create immense value. A baker who is passionate about their craft doesn't just sell bread. They sell nourishment, comfort, and a moment of daily delight. A computer programmer who loves solving puzzles doesn't just write code. They create elegant solutions that make other people's lives easier and more efficient. A teacher who is passionate about their students doesn't just convey information. They ignite curiosity and build futures. When you are creating value from this high-frequency state of joyful service, money becomes the natural and inevitable byproduct. It is the universe's applause. It is the physical reflection of the energetic value you have put out into the world. It flows to you easily and effortlessly, not because you are chasing it, but because you have become a powerful source of value. And money is simply the symbol the world uses to say, "Thank you. We want more of what you have to offer." Let us imagine the story of a man who is a highly successful corporate lawyer. He makes an enormous salary. He has a corner office. He has all the external trappings of success, but every morning, he wakes up with a knot of dread in his stomach. His body, his infallible compass, feels heavy and contracted every time he puts on his suit. He is living a life that looks good on paper but feels empty in his soul. After a long period of inner work, he rediscovers a forgotten passion from his youth, the simple, profound joy of baking bread. He starts small, baking for friends and family. The act of kneading the dough, the smell of the fresh bread, the joy on people's faces, it all makes him feel alive and expansive for the first time in years. Terrified, yet guided by this feeling, he takes a massive leap of faith. He quits his law firm and uses his savings to open a small artisanal bakery. His colleagues and family think he has lost his mind. They are the crabs in the bucket, trying to pull him back to the safety of his prestigious misery. At first, he struggles. He works longer hours for far less money. But he is happy. He is in spirit. He pours this high-frequency energy of love and passion into every loaf, and people can feel it. His bakery becomes famous, with lines around the block. He eventually franchises his business, writes a best-selling cookbook on the art of mindful baking, and, ultimately, creates far more wealth than he ever did as a lawyer. But more importantly, he has solved the prosperity puzzle. He aligned his livelihood with his soul, and the universe responded with abundance in every form. This journey of discovery is one you can undertake yourself. In their powerful audiobook, The Passion Test, authors Janet and Chris Atwood provide a simple yet profound system for identifying your top 5 core passions, the things that matter most to you. The test is designed to bring absolute clarity, so you can use your passions as a filter for every choice you make. As the Atwoods say, when you are clear, what you want will show up, and your clarity will be a magnet for the miracles you desire. You can then begin to reevaluate your relationship with your work. Instead of asking, "What can I do to make the most money?" you begin to ask, "What work would make me feel the most alive? What activity allows me to share my greatest gifts? How can I be of the highest service?" When you contemplate a career path or a business idea, consult your body's compass. Does the thought of it bring expansion or contraction? Let that feeling be your ultimate guide. When you follow the path of your soul's resonance, you are walking the path of purpose. And on the path of purpose, prosperity is not a destination to be sought. It is the very ground beneath your feet. You have now learned to turn the prosperity puzzle inside out. You do not chase wealth, you radiate value. You do not seek purpose, you express it. By aligning your work with your soul, you have taken a major step in your evolution as a conscious creator. You are no longer just reacting to life. You are beginning to generate it from a deep, internal wellspring of power. But what if there is another level? What if Instead of simply becoming a master at choosing from the available options, even the most joyful and abundant options, you could become the very source of the options themselves. It is time to graduate from being a skillful chooser of reality to being a sovereign creator of reality. We must now explore the ultimate expression of this power. We must learn what it means to become the operant power. We have journeyed far. We have learned to manage our thoughts, to alleviate our emotions, to align with the frequency of abundance, and to connect our life's work with the deep purpose of our soul. We have graduated from being a passive victim of circumstance to a skillful chooser of our reality. This, in itself, is a monumental achievement, a level of awareness that few ever attain. But everything we have learned up to this point has been a form of preparation. It has been the foundational training for a final quantum leap in consciousness. We are now ready to move beyond simply choosing from the menu of life. We are now ready to understand that we are the ones who write the menu. It is time to graduate from being the chooser of your reality to being its sole creator. It is time to awaken to your ultimate nature as the operant power. Let us first draw a clear line between these two states of being. The chooser, even at their most empowered, operates from the perspective that life happens to them. The world presents a series of doors, and their power lies in using their intuition and wisdom to choose the best door to walk through. This is a noble and powerful stance, far superior to that of the victim who feels they have no choice at all. But it is still, at its core, a reactive position. The creator, however, operates from a completely different paradigm. The creator understands that life happens through them, or more accurately, from them. They understand that the doors themselves, the very options that appear in their reality, are projections of their own state of consciousness. This is not a reactive stance, it is a sovereign and causal one. It is the shift from being a masterful player in the game to realizing you are the designer of the game itself. The master teacher of this profound principle was the 20th century mystic, Neville Goddard. Through his powerful audio lectures and books, Neville taught a radical and uncompromising truth. Your own wonderful human imagination is the one and only creative power in the universe. There is no other. He taught that you are the operant power, meaning that your consciousness is the sole cause of the phenomena of your life. Circumstances, conditions, and other people are not the cause of your state of being. Your state of being is the cause of your circumstances, conditions, and the way other people show up for you. This is the ultimate form of personal responsibility and personal power. The key technique Neville taught for exercising this power is what he called assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. This goes a step beyond the visualization we have already discussed. Visualization is often practiced from the perspective of an observer watching a film of a desired future. Assuming the state of the wish fulfilled is the art of mentally becoming the person who is already living that reality. You do not watch the film, you step into it and become the star. You ask yourself the most powerful creative question there is: what would the feeling be like if it were true right now? If you desire a state of perfect health, you do not visualize yourself getting healthy. You lie down in a quiet state, and you ask, how would I feel right now if I were the embodiment of perfect, vibrant health? You would feel strong, energetic, and vital. You would feel grateful. You would feel free. You then assume that feeling. You clothe yourself in that state of being as if it were a garment. You think from that state, not of that state. When you master this, your obsession with the how, the when, and the who completely dissolves. Why? Because if you are already, in your own consciousness, the person who has achieved the desire, then the question of how you achieved it is irrelevant. It's already done. Your concern is no longer with the journey, but with the reality of the destination in which you now mentally reside. Imagine a great screenwriter. They do not simply choose a script from a pile of submissions. They conceive of an entirely new reality. They might first imagine the final, triumphant scene of their film. They feel the emotional swell, the resolution, the deep satisfaction of the story's end. They live in that feeling. Then, working from that end point, they allow the preceding scenes, the bridge of incidents, as Neville called it, to unfold naturally and inevitably to lead to that predetermined conclusion. This is how you must live. You decide upon your end. You assume the feeling of that end as a present fact, and you allow the story of your life to rearrange itself to make that ending inevitable. You do not need to build the bridge, you only need to occupy the destination. The bridge will build itself. Make no mistake. This is a quantum leap of faith. It requires a level of mental discipline and conviction that transcends all that we have discussed before. It is the conscious choice to believe the report of your inner, creative world over the often contradictory facts of the outer, sensory world. It is the willingness to feel wealthy while your bank account is empty. It is the audacity to feel loved and cherished while you are seemingly alone. It is the courage to feel healthy even when your body presents symptoms of illness. You must persist in your assumption. You must turn to your imagination as the only reality, and treat the external world as the shadow that it is. A shadow that must, by law, eventually conform to the shape of the light you are casting with your consciousness. In a simplified sense, this aligns with the mysterious principles of quantum physics. In the quantum field, before observation, everything exists as a wave of pure, unformed potential. It is the act of observation, the act of consciousness focusing, that collapses the infinite wave of possibility into a single, concrete particle of experience. Your powerful, feeling-infused assumption is the act of conscious observation that tells the universe which one of all the potential realities you wish to call forth into form. This is not about interacting with reality anymore. It is about commanding it. It is about understanding that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a single drop. You are not a creature of circumstance. You are the creator of circumstance. This is the pinnacle of the power we have been working towards. It is the final recognition that you are the architect, the writer, the director, and the star of your own magnificent play. But how does one live from this rarefied, almost godlike state of awareness on a mundane Tuesday morning, when the challenges of daily life press in? This grand, cosmic power of the operant self is not sustained by grand, occasional gestures. It is sustained by small, humble, and consistent daily practices. The creator of worlds must also be the patient gardener of their own mind, to make this ultimate power a lived reality and not just a beautiful concept. We must now learn how to build a resilient and grounding spiritual routine that will serve as the foundation for our creative life. We must learn how to bring heaven down to earth. Every single day, we have arrived at a breathtaking summit of understanding. The realization that you are the operant power, the sole creator of your reality, is the ultimate truth of your being. It is a concept so vast, so powerful, that it can feel almost intimidating. How does one wield such godlike power on a dreary Tuesday morning when the car won't start and the bills are due? The answer is as simple as it is profound. You ground your infinite, cosmic power in a finite, daily practice. A master concert pianist does not deliver a breathtaking performance through a single grand moment of inspiration. They earn it through thousands of humble, unseen hours of sitting at the piano and simply playing the scales. Her daily practice is the foundation upon which her genius rests. We must now learn to practice our spiritual scales, to build a resilient daily routine that serves as the unshakable foundation for our creative life. The beginning of your day is the most sacred and crucial territory to reclaim. The first hour sets the energetic tone, the vibrational rudder, for the entire day that follows. The common modern habit is to immediately reach for the phone, flooding our freshly awakened consciousness with the chaotic, the reactive energy of the outside world, the news, the emails, the opinions of others. This is an act of spiritual abdication. You are handing the keys to your day over to a random stranger before you have even decided where you want to go. To become a conscious creator, You must claim this time for yourself. You must design a morning ritual. A sacred overture that can be as short as 15 minutes but is non-negotiable. This ritual might begin with the simple act of drinking a full glass of water, hydrating your physical vessel after a long night's rest. Then, before the mind begins its frantic churn, you practice 5 minutes of meditation. You are not trying to stop your thoughts. You are simply beginning your day from the calm, centered seat of the observer, reminding yourself that you are the sky, not the clouds. Next, you tune your frequency. You open a journal or simply close your eyes and name 3 specific things you are genuinely grateful for. Feeling the warmth of that appreciation in your heart, you are priming your energy field for abundance. Then, you set your destination. You can read aloud the intentions you have written for your life. Or you can spend a few minutes living in the joyful, feeling-infused reality of your mental movie. You are handing the universe your blueprint for the day. Finally, you might spend a few moments doing some gentle stretching, connecting with your body's compass, or reading a single, inspiring page from a book that feeds your soul. In these few sacred moments, and you have consciously defined yourself and your reality before the world has a chance to do it for you. Of course, it is one thing to feel centered on a meditation cushion at 6 in the morning, and quite another to maintain that centeredness during a stressful meeting or a traffic jam. The key is not to expect uninterrupted bliss, but to pepper your day with micro-practices that act as pattern interrupts, pulling you back to your center. You can set a silent alarm on your phone for 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 5 in the evening. When it buzzes, it is your private signal to simply stop what you are doing. Take one full, conscious breath and ask yourself, am I present right now? Another powerful technique is to use common annoyances as your triggers for mindfulness. When you are stopped at a red light, instead of feeling frustrated, use it as a forced 2-minute meditation to notice your breath. When the phone rings, and use the sound as a reminder to take one conscious breath and smile before you answer, changing the entire energy of the call. These tiny acts, woven into the fabric of your day, prevent you from being hijacked by reactive energy and keep you tethered to your role as the calm observer and conscious creator. Just as you begin your day with intention, you must also end it with intention. The moments before sleep are a direct gateway to your powerful subconscious mind. An evening ritual is your opportunity to consciously close out the day and program your mind for peace, restoration, and continued creation while you sleep. This begins with a digital sunset, at least 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Turn off all screens. The blue light disrupts your natural sleep rhythms, and the endless stream of information keeps your mind in an agitated state. Use this screen-free time to perform a brain dump. If you have worries or an overwhelming to-do list for tomorrow, write it all down on a piece of paper. Get it out of your head. This externalizes the anxiety, telling your mind that it doesn't need to keep spinning on these topics. Then, you can briefly review your day, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Acknowledge one thing that went well. Forgive yourself for anything you perceive as a mistake. Releasing it fully. End your waking day as you began it with gratitude. Mentally list 3 things that you are thankful for from the day that has just passed. Finally, as you are lying in that peaceful, drowsy state between wakefulness and sleep, the fertile alpha and theta brainwave states, you can gently repeat a powerful affirmation like, everything is always working out for me, or I am safe, I am loved, and all is well. You are planting a powerful seed in the most fertile soil of your mind, allowing it to grow in the darkness while your body rests. In building these rituals, we must remember the most important rule of all. Consistency is infinitely more powerful than intensity. A flawed but consistent 15-minute practice every single day will change your life far more than a perfect 3-hour ritual performed once every 2 months. Think of it like physical fitness. You cannot get strong by going to the gym for one Herculean 9-hour session and then doing nothing for the rest of the year. You build muscle through regular, consistent, and repeated effort. Spiritual fitness is identical. You are forging new neural pathways, building new mental and emotional muscles. The consistency is what makes these new pathways your brain's default option. So start small. Start with just 5 minutes in the morning. Make it so easy that you cannot say no. The goal, at first, is not mastery. It is simply to build the habit. Once the habit is ingrained, you can extend the time. This routine is not another chore to add to your list. It is a radical act of self-respect. It is the practical, earthly structure that supports your divine, creative freedom. You now have the how. You have a sustainable, daily system for living as the operant power, for grounding your infinite potential in the soil of your daily life. And so, with this practical framework in place, we can finally zoom out to ask the ultimate question. Why? What is the point of this journey? What is the grand purpose of becoming a masterful creator of your own life? Is it merely to accumulate more pleasant experiences, more possessions, more comfort? Or is there a deeper game being played? Having mastered the how, we must now contemplate the why. We must shift our perspective one last time. From the finite goals in life to the infinite purpose of life. It is time to explore what it means to be a player in the infinite game. We have arrived at the final vista in our long journey of understanding. We have built our daily practice, the sacred and sustainable routine that grounds our immense creative power in the soil of our daily lives. We now have the how. We have a system for living as a conscious creator. And so, we must now ask the ultimate question, the one that gives meaning to all the others. Why? Why have we done this work? Why have we learned to master our thoughts, elevate our emotions, and take command of our reality? Is the purpose of all this simply to acquire a better set of circumstances, a bigger house, a faster car, a more attractive partner? Are these the ultimate prizes in the game of life? I propose to you that these are merely the beautiful but finite trophies available within a much grander, more profound game. To find our ultimate purpose, we must understand the nature of the game we are playing. It is time to learn the difference between a finite game and the infinite game of life. This powerful distinction was first articulated by the philosopher James P. Carse and was brought into a modern context by the author Simon Sinek in his insightful audiobook. The infinite game. The concept is simple, yet it changes everything. A finite game is defined by known players, fixed rules, and a clearly agreed upon objective. A game of baseball, a game of chess, a quarterly business report. These are finite games. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The game concludes when a winner has been declared, and the purpose of playing is to win. An infinite game, however, is different. It is defined by both known and unknown players. The rules are changeable, and there is no finish line. The objective of an infinite game is not to win, but to perpetuate the game, to continue the play, to keep the game going as long as possible. There are no winners and losers in an infinite game. Only players who are, at any given moment, ahead or behind in resources, knowledge, or influence. So much of our human anxiety comes from a single, catastrophic error. We are trying to play the infinite game of life with a finite mindset. We treat our existence as a series of finite games to be won. We think we win by graduating from school. Then we win by getting the job. Then we win by getting the promotion. We win by getting married. Win by buying the house. And win by achieving our financial goals. All leading up to the ultimate supposed victory, retirement. The finish line where we can finally stop playing. This is why so many people feel a profound sense of emptiness upon achieving a long sought-after goal. They won the finite game they set for themselves. But the infinite game of life continues to unfold all around them. And they feel lost because they mistakenly believed that winning was the point. The true purpose of life is not to win, not to reach a final destination and collect a trophy. The purpose of the infinite game of life is to play it with as much consciousness, joy, love, and growth as possible. For as long as you are able. The goal is not to finish the game. The goal is to play it beautifully. This realization fundamentally transforms the nature of choice itself. In a finite game, every move is a strategy. Each choice is weighed and measured against a single criterion. Will this help me win? You make choices based on defeating an opponent or reaching an objective. But in an infinite game, your choices cease to be strategic and instead become expressive. The primary question is no longer, will this move help me win, but rather, is this move an authentic expression of who I am and the values I wish to embody? Does this choice allow me to continue playing this game in a way that is meaningful to me and that encourages others to continue playing as well? Your choice to have a career is no longer about winning the money game, but about choosing a field that allows you to joyfully express your unique gifts. Your choices within your relationships are no longer about winning arguments or keeping score, but about expressing your capacity to love, to listen, and to support another player in their own infinite game. Your choice to act with integrity when nobody is watching is not a strategic move to build a reputation. It is a pure expression of your commitment to playing the game with honor. You are no longer trying to get somewhere. You are simply focused on being who you are, right here, right now, through the vehicle of your choices. This leads us to the final, liberating conclusion of our entire journey. The reward for playing the infinite game of life is not something that waits for you at the end. There is no cosmic scoreboard that will flash you won when you draw your final breath. The reward is intrinsic to the playing itself. The reward for loving is the expansive feeling of love in your own heart. The reward for creating is the thrill and flow of the creative act. The reward for learning is the expansion of your own mind. The reward for living a life of purposeful choice is the deep, abiding, and unshakable satisfaction of navigating your journey with awareness, grace, authenticity, and courage. The weight of choice. The great burden with which we began this exploration was the anxiety of a finite player, terrified of making a wrong move and losing the game. The joy of choice, the freedom we have now discovered, is the spirit of the infinite player, who understands that there are no wrong moves, only experiences. Every choice is simply another opportunity to express your truest self, to learn something new about the game, and to continue the beautiful, mysterious, and endless dance of life. We have now traveled from the smallest, most granular aspect of our being, a single thought, all the way out to the most expansive, philosophical view of our existence. We have journeyed from the cramped, dark room of fear and paralysis, out into the bright, open, and windy landscape of infinite possibility. We have learned the tools, calibrated our compass, chosen our fellow travelers, and finally, we have understood the ultimate purpose of the game. Our education is complete. All that remains now is to stand upon this summit we have reached together, to take a deep breath of this rarefied air, and to look back for a moment at the path we have traveled. It is time to gather all the gems of wisdom we have collected, to crystallize the core message of our journey, and to fully and finally step into the magnificent power we have so diligently reclaimed. We have arrived at the end of our journey together, but at the true beginning of yours. Let us stand here for a moment, on this summit of new awareness, and look back at the winding path we have traveled. We began in a crowded and noisy valley, feeling the immense, paralyzing weight of infinite choice, trapped in the echo chamber of what could be. From that place of confusion, we took our first step, daring to believe in a new premise, that the universe was not a random series of events happening to us, but a perfect mirror reflecting what was happening within us. We learned to become masters of our own frequency, to wield our thoughts as the architects of reality, and our intentions as the focused arrow of creation. We embraced the profound paradox of surrender, learning to let go of the how so the universe could orchestrate its magic. We discovered that gratitude is not just a pleasantry, but a powerful magnet for more, and that we could script our future in the vibrant, sensory theater of our minds through visualization. We learned to listen to the whispers of the universe in the language of synchronicity, and to quiet the static of our own inner doubt. We dismantled the great illusions of scarcity and the right choice, and learned to trust the infallible compass of our own bodies. We learned to curate our tribe, to forgive our past, and to align our work with our soul's deepest purpose. And finally, we saw that we are not just playing a finite game of wins and losses, but a glorious, infinite game where the purpose is simply to play with as much joy, love, and authenticity as we can muster. We have learned that our audiobooks and our teachers are not just sources of information, but constant compagnons, reminding us of the truths we are choosing to embody. After this long journey, what is the single core message to carry forward? It is this: the freedom, peace, and clarity you have been seeking are not waiting for you at the end of a decision. They are not the prize for choosing the perfect path. They are the starting point. Peace is the vehicle in which you travel, not the destination at which you arrive. Clarity is the light you bring to the choices, not something you find within them. The power you were seeking out there in a better job, a different city, or another person was, all along, waiting patiently within you. The entire journey was simply a journey home to yourself. And so, you are no longer a leaf tossed about on the river of life, hoping to land on a peaceful shore. You are the current. You are the conscious, directing force. You are the operant power. The world is a canvas. Your consciousness is the brush, and your feelings are the vibrant, limitless colors you get to paint with. You are the author of your story, the dreamer of your dream. The weight is gone, replaced by a joyful lightness of being. The paralysis is gone, replaced by a thrilling sense of adventure. The game is infinite. Play beautifully,